Respectfully, Mr. President, well,
2 years is in his second year in office, right? And the Commander Sugar Factory, I remember very well, in 2016 thereabout, was when he commissioned it.
Okay. Even Sugar Factory, we are struggling with it.
We are struggling with it.
And all of that. 8 years has come
8 years came and passed. And
we haven't seen much.
Mr. President was quiet. A party that he had control, or ought to have had control, could have called the president then into his retirement home and told the president, Mr. President, you know that the way you are dealing with the state institutions, you have to stop. But maybe he did it, but we didn't hear. Maybe he did it, but President Akufo-Addo did not listen. Maybe he tried. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt. We don't know what happens behind closed quarters. But
like he could have spoken public like he's doing now.
Like he's doing now. Yes, I agree with you. I'm trying to leave this one to you, the politician, to talk about.
I know you are dancing around it. I know you are dancing around it intentionally.
Mr. President Kufuor, we beg you. You are the statesman that we see you to be. Please, there are some of the things.
You can't say it. So about Maxwell Kofi Juma, yesterday there were reports that officers from the Economic and Organized Crime Office reportedly searched his home at Atonsu residence of the former Asuka Member of Parliament and Managing Director of Gihawk Distilleries, Maxwell Kofi Juma. According to the Ashanti Regional Communications Director of the NPP, Paul Yando, the officers presented documents indicated they had authorization to search the premises but carried out the operation in the absence of Mr. Juma. All the keys in his house have been taken. They've taken everything. They brought just a sheet with an instruction that they have instruction from the Yoko boss as they have come. They have to come and search Honorable Kofi Juma's house. He said they have taken all the documents in his room and then his laptop and then all the keys to this house. He questioned the decision by the officers to take keys from the residents, saying, so I asked him, why are you sending the keys? He said that they have to take it. I said, has he stolen anybody's building or whatever? They were just not ready to answer that. What has happened?
The story is not clear. He wasn't there. Someone else was there.
So Ms. Ayando, who spoke, is suggesting from the story, I get the indication that he was the one doing the interrogation of the officials. Right? He was the one interrogating the officials on the subject matter. That's the indication I get. I will call it political witch hunting or political persecution. I don't think it's the way to go. When government change, it doesn't mean you should subject the other to this kind of criminal attack. And power will change. Definitely power will change. And when it changes, nobody should blame anybody for also doing same.
This is the problem.
Must it become a crime for someone to serve his country?
The work that Johnnie did on Johnnie's bite on this matter should have triggered an investigation launched by President Akufo-Addo himself.
But that is his
we shouldn't have waited. That is part of the problems. We shouldn't have waited for government to change hands. So this statement that political witch hunt, and we see it running across. If you try investigating a former appointee, then the party will cry political witch hunt. If anybody does see the arrests that were made yesterday, then we say, oh, free speech. Oh, people are not allowed to do this. Oh, people are not allowed to do that. Oh, government is persecuting political opponents. Meanwhile, there are investigations that must happen. If President Akufo-Addo had listened to the Ghanaian media, listened to us here on Sunrise, on Johnnie's Bite, investigations should have been launched into the operations of Gihawk under the tenure of President Akufo-Addo himself. We shouldn't have waited for President Mahama to take over. No, because what was happening at Gihawk, at least from the documents that we showed here, was simply unacceptable. If for nothing at all, if you thought that the media was lying, if you thought that we here were not...
have SIGA look at it.
Let them look into the matter. Then you can call us out. And say
but the man was untouchable. That's it's
a serious matter.
And you see, I recall...
He was untouchable.
I recall at some point when workers... when this whole Galamsey conversation was ongoing and organized labor was mooting the idea of laying down their tools to pressure government to take decisive action, he went on a radio station and said any Gihawk staff should try and see if they will not be sacked. Those were clear threats against
the man was untouchable.
Against the employment rights of individuals.
If a girl was so broke that at a point Mr. Otibonso had to, give them some loan from a private individual. Private individual had to give Gihawk loan, Mr. Otibonso. I mean, this is how Kofi Juma or whatever, I don't know the name well, managed Gihawk, and he was allowed to, do things.
So this thing, cry of political witch hunt.
As for the bit about political witch hunt,
I think,
of course, if there are witches, we'll hunt them. Oh yes. Witches will have to be hunted. If there are witches, we'll hunt them. We'll hunt witches.
No, it has to stop.
It has to stop.
Not everything should fall into the remit of witch hunting.
And you see, sometimes
we need to exact. And the challenge is because the governments themselves don't investigate their own.
That's the point I was trying to make. Sometimes it's good for the administration of the day to investigate its own members. I mean, we are not saying that the president should always be setting up committees, but we have state institutions who should be acting, who should be leading such investigations. You think that if even the CID, and there were cases, I'm sure those police cases are still pending. There were police reports that were made on operations of Gihawk, some of them against the person of the MD at the time.
The man was drawing
money. Were these
money
investigations done? Did the CID, did National Security at the time, did IOCO at the time, did any of the state investigative authorities take the pains to look into these allegations? I mean, my point is that you see, the story was so loud in the media, especially here on Sunrise, that you simply could not have ignored.
Yeah.
So if you were able to ignore those allegations, you don't turn around now when there's a change of administration and there's an attempt to investigate them, then you cry witch hunt. It is simply disingenuous. It's not right.
So if you don't, if you don't exert pressure of accountability, and we allow some of these things to go unattended to, what it means is that when people get opportunity to manage any office, they can do whatever they
can do whatever they like.
At the end of the day, once you're out of office, no accountability.
No accountability.
And if you allow them to do this, you scratch my back, I scratch your back thing, then our democracy is dead. Then our democracy is dead. We should be able to, demand proper accountability from those who get opportunity to lead this country.
At the end of the day, what? NDC people have friends in NPP and UP. NPP people have friends in NDC. Okay, I'm not sure about UP. I'm not sure. NDC has friends in UP.
Oh, wow, of course we have friends. But of course we were with them.
Are you sure you have friends in UP?
Oh, I have friends. Afenyo Markin is a friend. As for Afenyo, let me tell you something. Afenyo Markin is a friend. Wow. I mean, I've said it on record several times. I was one of the few who inspired him into politics. So, Afenyo is a friend. Guess what? The last time we saw one another like we are sitting here, it's more than 15 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, why is that?
Wow.
But you communicate from time to time?
The last time we communicated was about 50 years ago.
Wow.
Or maybe 10 years ago, maybe. When MPP first came to power. 2017, maybe 10 years ago. That was the last time it was even WhatsApp communication. So that is. But the thing is that also like But I see him as a friend. Of course, in my heart of heart, I see him as a friend. Apart from the fact that he was my junior in Augustins College in Central Region politics. You know, at a point in time, I was the shining star among the youth in Central Region, and even in Ghana at a point in time. So Afenyo got inspiration for me. At that time, 2004 is when I attempted to go to Parliament in 2004 at age 29. I was very young then, with Christine Checha, I contested Christine Checha.
You were really very young.
Yeah.
You were attempting to push down a colossal.
Yeah. And of course, that election, I say it publicly. That election, I won by voting, I lost by counting.
Is the American electoral college system.
That's
what
the
popular vote,
but you lose the delegates.
I remember not coming. Edumazi and I'm Tegolete Edumazi and not coming. After the voting, they said our agents should not be there for the counting.
And that's when that's when you lost the election.
Can you imagine? They said nobody's agent should be there. Then it was two horse race. After the counting, they said I had lost by 16 votes.
The politics.
And the President Kufuor knew about it. President Kufuor knew about it. So 2008, when I was Kufuor made sure I was disqualified. Kufuor told him the young man won the last election. We took it from him because he wanted peace to prevail. So allow him to contest. Don't disqualify him.
Whoa.
And Akufo-Addo didn't. Listen to Kufuor.
Wow.
Yeah.
So former President Akufo-Addo sabotaged you.
Oh yeah, 2008.
One of the reasons you left the NPP?
No. Even after that, I was still a member of the party. I left 2010. I left politics 2010. Not necessarily because of what Akufo-Addo did to me, but because of, I found something else to do in life, and I pursued it. And I came back 10 years. I came back 10 years time
in 2020
to start
2020 years.
To start all over again.
Yeah. So some of those most of the let me say some of the youth, the OPKs and the Pious and those people. They were when they were at UCC. I was the youth organizer of the party in Cape Coast, so they were all my guys. So I was senior, Mrekuduka and all that. I was senior to all of them. But when I came back, I don't even call them. I don't even talk to them.
And so,
but they are still friends. OPK, yes, I talk to him sometimes.
Who was Akufo-Addo?
Akufo-Addo, lawyer Ponsadazi. No, Akufo-Addo was not interested in. He was not interested in who would be there. He was interested in me.
It just must not be you.
Yeah, it should be me. So I remember when he invited me to his office at number 16 Ridge. Then I told him, I said, Nana, after our disqualification, Kufuor had national security briefing that they were going to lose Cape Coast seats and other 14 seats. So President Kufuor had a meeting and said, okay, let's run those constituencies that we've disqualified people. And I was youth organizer and I was disqualified. I was a presiding member. I was for no reason. I remember the letter that I had after my disqualification. In the letter, they said, for reason that cannot be stated in this letter, you can't be allowed to contest.
Politics is such an interesting sphere.
So he ignored President Kufuor's admonition. President Kufuor said, let's redo the rerun. He ignored it, and he invited us to his office. And I told him,
President Kufuor was still the leader of the party then.
Yeah, he ignored him.
But former President Kufuor then was the flag bearer
of the party. Yeah, so he ignored President Kufuor.
Okay.
And so then he invited us to his office, me, Shaba, Dr. Anoin. Then he said, you don't worry, I have about, he mentioned some figure, 5,000 or something appointment. When I come, I will consider you. Then I told him, Nana himself can attest to this. I said, Nana, it's not about me becoming an MP, it's about you becoming president. The man that is contesting cannot campaign for himself, let alone for you. So allow me to go and campaign for you, win the seat and win you the vote. And he said, also, you don't worry, you don't worry. He didn't get, McMahon told Mr. Alan Chama.
He lost that election.
That the man said he didn't want to see me. McMahon was my friend, the chairman McMahon was a very good friend of mine at that time.
Because at that time you were, central youth.
I was a very, influential youth in the party. And he was, I told him, I said, Chairman, what have I done? I'm the youth organizer of the party. Why should I be? I said, you don't know. I said, you don't know. Eventually, I was disqualified. And they lost the Cape Coast seat for the first time to Lawyer Odro. And after that, the NDC has taken over the constituency, Cape Coast North and South. At that time, it was one constituency. And there's no way MPP will come to win the Cape Coast seat again. It will be a long time.
Ricky Hagan is the Cape Coast South Member of Parliament.
Yeah, so we used to control Cape Coast, but no more. NDC has now taken over the party.
Sorry, okay.
Is
that why you and
the journey of
Mr.
politics.
Emmanuel Koteng are friends? Because he too, his broom was changed to slippers, and our slippers changed too.
So, and at that point, if I'd gone as an independent, I would have won. You know, Shaba went independent and won.
Yes.
I was very popular at that time. I was very popular in Cape Coast.
And it was the same time Paula Foko and
it was as a result of 2007. You know, I was one of Alan's campaign managers in Central Region. 2007. So all those who openly supported Alan became targeted. And Nadu really wanted me in his camp, but I declined. Even at a point, he wanted to.
Even with from day one.
Oh no. At a point, he wanted to go to US with me. Wanted to. That time he was Foreign Affairs Minister, so I should bring my passport for visa. I ignored because that I had.
You had committed to the Alan campaign.
I didn't want to be.
There was nothing wrong with moving with the Foreign Affairs Minister as a party executive.
No. It wasn't just
politics
of principle.
As for me, they know it's me. I told you, I'll eat my gari and pepper comfortably.
Yeah,
that's the kind of person I am. I'm
your conscience.
Yes, my conscience.
You're done with the papers?
Yes, I'm done. But
as if I was in one of the newspapers. What is that?
Oh no, but you see, sometimes it's good to go back into time.
And on some of these
our
things.
politics has grown so fast that a lot of the young people in politics today, both NDC and PP, they don't know where we have come from.
Yeah.
A lot of them are just there shouting, and they forget the traditions of both parties.
Yeah.
They have no idea the toil that form the parties. And this one, I'm talking about both parties. So you see young people in the parties behaving anyhow, misconducting themselves, disregarding even elders of the party.
Yeah.
They can talk anyhow about elders of and in the party. And so sometimes it's good to go back into history, try to
let them know where the party has come from.
And just tapping into what Sixtus said, that aspect is very important because like he mentioned, we've seen a lot of the young people believing that openly attacking persons, insulting, calling them out, defaming, denigrating their persons puts them in a better position for fame towards party positions, right? We have increasingly seen that. And you were a youth organizer.
It didn't used to be the case.
So I wonder sometimes why, when we advance as society rather, or as a democracy really, as we're advancing, we're tending to see that as well. Maybe it's the perks of advancement and new media allowing persons to be able to parrot whatever it is that they
laziness
can say.
of mind, Mawuena, because you see, there's even if you watch political commentary these days, we keep talking about the quality in Parliament. The quality of political commentary has also been watered down so much.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, you could listen to even the current president himself.
Yeah.
So somebody like him, somebody like the former president Akufo-Addo,
the GH
ministers, you listen to them on news analysis platforms back then, and you could feel the richness of the discussions, the knowledge of the issues, the understanding of the problems. You see, but these days we all come to shout. If you raise an issue right now, the communicator on the other side will say, but you did it your time. That has become our response, our strategy to political communication. Kufuor says, where's that story? States should stay away from
hands
off businesses. And say, but NPP also did it. Mm-hmm. Why shouldn't? That has become our political communication strategy. So even the communicators in the political parties who frequent our platforms, you can see that the richness is not there. Yeah. The depth is not there. So, I mean, there's a lot to learn from the past. There's a lot to learn from, and I'm surprised, honestly, I'm surprised to hear some of the names you were mentioning. The other day you were telling the story about you and Christian...
Checha.
I almost said Churchill.
Christine Checha. Honorable Christine Checha.
And if you know who this woman was...
but she was a very powerful woman.
Very powerful woman. And you had a 29-year-old going against her.
And let me tell you something interesting. So 2008, she didn't contest. I mean, 2008, she knew, I mean, it was no for her. So she didn't even come at all. So when I was disqualified, she regretted she never contested. And 2012 she came. I didn't contest. At that time, I decided not to involve myself.
It's good to go into the past. Hawa Yakubu? Is it Hawa Yakubu?
Yeah.
Yes, Hawa Yakubu. Powerful.
Very,
woman.
very powerful woman from the north. At some point was rumored to have could have been vice presidential candidate.
Very powerful.
Was highly tipped, as we say.
But this morning, when I was coming, I heard the news. In the news, Afenyo Ken granted interview to.
Yes. Yesterday.
The things he said. I mean, sometimes Afenyo, you were a leader, you were a lawyer, and you were a leader of the minority in parliament. Whether you like it or not, you have become a role model to a lot of people. And in some of the things he said against the judge, I don't want to repeat them here.
Yeah.
I think it was very bad on his part to have done that. If I don't know, if nobody advises him in the party, he should get an advisor. I believe his posturing doesn't resonate with a lot of Ghanaians.
It wasn't the only one. Was it the Swami?
The Soloku MP?
Yes.
Honorable Soloku. Honorable Soloku.
Bafo Iwa as well was
he's
I think they did the Soloku, and Solo has been teasing and calling him that for a while. But also made comments in that nature. And
I mean, the interview he granted, it was in local, it's a fancy. I mean, he spoke in fancy.
Okay, I listened to the one he granted in English.
The fancy one is, I mean, to the extent that he said, okay, I wish the judge would cite me for contempt and invite me to the court. I would tell, make it come out, you know, on disabled class of a judge. I mean, whew.
I heard him say that when he granted the English interview as well.
Which of the cases?
And
so the
Baba Mando's
the Bono communications guy. Okay. I mean, the concerns he raises, I wasn't in court, and I haven't heard reports from any court reporter as to what played out. But the version of account he gives is that the police prosecution did not apply for bail. Mm-hmm. They didn't pray the court that they needed Baba Amando remanded for investigations. They said they were willing to have him go and come as and when they need him. Mm-hmm. He makes an appearance, and then they continue investigation because they were going to do some forensics into the Facebook posting and
so they didn't oppose the bail application.
They didn't oppose the bail application. So to him, he says he was surprised that out of nowhere the judge says, per their own discretion and looking at the matter, decided to remand him into custody for 2 weeks to reappear. And for him, that was a travesty, because once the police prosecution had made it known that they didn't have a need for the person to be But I know there's provision in law as well, which allows a judge.
He was questioning the judge's exercise.
Yes, and I heard him mention that aspect as well, that he doesn't mind if he's cited for contempt. But I didn't think it could have gotten worse when he cited him.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, even if you're not in agreement with the judge, I think some of the things he said. If you're a leader, you just have to be careful the things you say, because we've been in this country. All of us have been in this country. We know things that have happened. You lawyers, don't you say that is it the law is in the bosom of the judge?
Yes.
Yeah. So why suddenly the law is no more
in the bosom of the judge?
So
I agree with you. I mean, there are times that you disagree with a decision that a judge takes, or maybe the reasoning behind the decision. You can disagree with it. You may not necessarily have a problem with the decision, but the reasoning leading to that decision you may have a problem with. And lawyers do that all the time. Lawyers would often communicate their disagreement with a decision. You know that when you are a lawyer in a case, you are not allowed to speak on outside of court. I mean, whatever speaking you want to speak, let it be spoken in court. But you can't be seen granting interviews and all of those things. And it is important that we always stick to the issues. I agree with that. Disagree with the judge, but don't attack the judge.
I mean, this was. I mean, that the judge doesn't deserve to be a judge, and I mean.
And you can sometimes to understand the political communication in some of these cases.
So whip up sentiments and base support.
You mobilize. I recall the Koku arrests, Koku Anyido, that evening or the afternoon at the CID office, and the commentary that was run that brought people, I mean literally thousands of NDC people to the CID office. Not to compare the two, but just to make the point that political communication can get tricky. You see, that is why we have to exercise.
They can embellish and amplify.
We have to exercise
issues,
restraint, especially when there are legal issues. When there are legal issues. So I'm not sure he meant cite me for contempt. Because being a lawyer, he understands what that means.
No, in fact, he said it. So, he said it, and he said.
I'm not saying he didn't say that.
Then I want to say. I just want to say what he said.
He said. He meant it.
I mean,
that was the politician in him, overtaking the lawyer in him.
I mean, but the leader in him should have also prompted him to know that whatever you say, the social media or internet doesn't forget. Internet doesn't forget. So, let's see what happens.
So, Mawuena, before we go, I want to. There's Daily Graphic has carried this story. It's actually a news desk report. Wealth meets in Ghana to honor Asante Hene. Is on page 13 of the paper. The Asante Hene will be honored. They said since taking the golden stool in 1999, he's done a lot. They mentioned political tensions he's mediated, international arena, the levels he's played at, the platforms he's played on. Mentioned the commemorative gold coin, you recall that?
Yeah.
And then the Boko Peace Initiative, chieftaincy, land disputes and arbitration. He's been very instrumental in all of those things. So there's actually a move by a group, EON 3 Group and its key partners. They have announced the World Meets in Ghana Executive Dinner Ball to celebrate the Otumfuo as a pillar of peace on the occasion of his 27th coronation anniversary. Hey, so if you were born in 1999, you are 27 years old though. You are still calling yourself a small boy. And Her Excellency Shirley Ayoko Boche would be the guest of honor. You know who she is? You know who she is?
She's
Secretary General of the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
So she would be the special guest of honor, and they will also have the Olu of Warri Kingdom of Nigeria, Ogiame Atuache the third, and the Queen Consort of the Kingdom, Olori Atuache the third.
Hearing you mention these names,
These are Olu.
Do you need help? Do you need help?
No, it's fine. I have done it well. No, but I took this because I think it's a good thing. Let's celebrate, especially traditional leadership. We are not projecting our traditional leadership enough. If you look at Nigeria, traditional authority in Nigeria is everything. Very powerful. Even a small chief in Nigeria is held as a paramount chief is held in Ghana. I think that as a country we have to, maybe there's something that the tourism ministry and development corporation should take a look at, and then the Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy. How do we reposition our traditional authority to have that command? The last time I made this argument, somebody said we should forget it because they have become more NDC and MPP than the card-bearing NDC and MPP members.
True.
But we need to be able to put that respect on traditional leadership. Prop up our traditional rulers and give them that central role. Give them that central, so that if President Mahama walks into the Ulo traditional area, the paramount chief of Ulo traditional area will receive the recognition that he deserves to receive as the paramount chief. That the president will respect the chief as the chief of the area, not relegate them, boss them around, talk to them as if they were ordinary citizens. We must be able to reposition chieftaincy in this country.
It's true. I think they should be made to be able to initiate developmental projects in their traditional areas. It's very important. Chiefs would have before the white man came, we were having our chiefs, and they were our political leaders. And so, with the coming in of democracy, they shouldn't be relegated to the background. They should still be given special roles to play in terms of security,
absolutely,
in terms of development and job creation. I think chiefs can also be given KPIs. Yes, if you support them.
Explain yourself.
If you're a chief, and for example, you have
KPIs by who? They are subjects.
Because chiefs are also, you see, when you become chief on the lap, on the lap of other people.
Yes.
On the laps of other people. And so the point I'm making is that if, for example, if you're a chief and you happen to have good concession in your traditional area, concessions, and you are getting some percentage of the royalties. And you are supposed to use them for development within your area, I think you should be able to be given a certain, are you getting it? If you're giving KPIs, this is what we expect you to do with this amount of money that comes to you every month or every quarter. Are you getting it? If you do that, then we can also point to the things that they've done. And then ask whatever you reign from this date to this date. These are the projects you're able to do in your constituency. That is because if a chief becomes a chief and all that he does is to receive people, receive gifts, and then we don't place value on the chieftaincy concept. I think they should be given opportunity to be able to become development agents within their areas.
They already are.
But
you see, I think it's a question of, and this is where I go back to the argument they themselves have always made. They've always advocated for inclusion in the local assemblies, the MMDAs.
Right.
Chiefs should have an automatic seat in the local assemblies. That is my position. If there is let me use my own, Japa Municipal Assembly. We can't have every chief in the assembly. We cannot. But we can have the paramount chiefs who with automatic seats in the assembly as members of the assembly with voting rights. So that where politics is taking over the deliberations and the consideration of projects and other things, the chiefs would be able to provide that kind of
guidance.
I'm also amenable to an argument that will say that instead of giving chiefs an automatic seat in the district assembly, that is the level at which we should now create that upper chamber that some have advocated for. So that rather than having an upper chamber at the national level, we would have an upper chamber at the local level. You have the regular district assembly composed as it stands now. Then you have the chiefs also put together in another arm that has a vote, a say, and some level of veto in some of the decisions of the assembly itself. So that if you have some NDC or NPP, MCE or DCE, who is more partisan than the area itself needs, then the chiefs can bring some sanity to discussions and decision making. But of course, I keep going back to that interjection that was made when I made this argument. Are the chiefs themselves neutral, or they are more partisan?
In fact, when you were speaking, that's what came to mind, and whether or not there won't be undue influences. Imagine having your paramount chief in your municipal assembly meetings. Do you dare go against him? If you disagree in terms of ideals and how things should be done, those are questions and conversations that can be had. So there's a nuance to it. In earnest truth, yes, they deserve to be a part of the planning. They deserve to be a part of the governance architecture. The current that it doesn't allow. They and government, they don't mix. They are respected and they are supposed to be on their own,
which is a problem. At least
I think currently they have. I think currently they have rep. Normally, is the government appointees.
Appointees, yes.
They will have a chief there, but I'm I've been a presiding member before. I think chiefs should not necessarily be the chiefs themselves, but they can have their reps. Yeah, because to the assembly, and so I think the idea is good, but I see that this is where the problem will be. A chief controls traditional area, so anybody there is the subject of the chief.
Absolutely.
Then now the chief goes to the assembly, the presiding member is supposed to be higher than the chief.
And that becomes problematic.
and municipal chief executive,
they'll have to come and subject themselves.
Subjecting themselves.
So that's what I'm saying. The chief can have a rep.
I'm saying there will be power play.
Yeah, the chief
definitely.
can. The chief
without this, there's power play.
No, but the chief can have a rep.
There are still chiefs who are very influential in the day-to-day runnings of the assemblies. We cannot disagree on that. There are chiefs today who would call the MCE or DCE and tell him, stop that nonsense that you are doing, go and do this. And the DCE or MCE will dare not say no.
Because the DCE is the subject of the chief.
Exactly.
Yeah, so but the point
the power play is still there.
Yeah. But the
in
point
some
is,
of the areas.
Yeah, but the point is, chiefs, the assembly, the kind of argument that goes on, and the kind of things that come up.
Yeah.
I mean, having chief involved would also take away some
the integrity of the chief.
Yeah, not integrity, but in
the
terms
respect
of
for the chief.
Not in terms of
I don't know the word you use.
That's why I'm giving you all the words. Choose one.
No, but not the integrity of the chief per se. But you see, it's like you water down the
authority
of the chief, like something like that.
So let's create a chamber for them.
So it will be good if you
have funds to create another
chamber.
No, we don't necessarily even have to create. Look, we have regional house of chiefs. We have, I think, districts.
You should have.
Yeah, we have. So they are
traditional
houses,
councils.
Yeah. And then you have from traditional you go to regional, and then to national. Yes, that's the arrangement. And the appellate process is also like that. Yes, that's the arrangement. But can we turn our traditional councils into another decision-making body? And not necessarily a decision-making body. If there's, for instance, we are looking to build a school block in a traditional, in a district, the project is debated at the assembly, right? The estimates are considered at the assembly, right? No, I'm asking you as former.
Of course, yeah.
Then this is not central government funding, or even if it's central government funding, it still comes to the assembly for discussions and all of that.
Yeah.
The assembly committee in charge of education will take the lead, right?
Yeah.
Now, before that deliberation or after that deliberation,
isn't that where the consultation with the chieftaincy authority comes in?
Is it?
I expect that should be where it will come in.
No, well, former presiding member, were you consulting the chiefs?
No, you see, some of the decisions the chief will not be part of the assembly, but the chief will come to maybe either the MC will go to the chief, or he will invite the chief for discussion.
Like informing him.
Yeah, because the land belongs to the chief traditionally, so you don't want to take certain actions without his input. So that one is there, but normally it is not something that is the MC is not obliged to do it.
Exactly.
But if you can formalize it,
that's all I'm saying.
If you can do it in such a way that they will play a very
crucial role, so that even at the formative stages of the project, you see that the chief may say that, well, you are talking about a school block, but my people there, it is boreholes they need.
Yeah.
Will that inform or change the decision on the project? Maybe central government too has gone to find some free money from Japan and says that, okay, Japan wants to give us free money to build school. Can central government convert that school project into a borehole project? Then they will say, no, okay, you don't want school, you want borehole. Let us take this school project to another community that needs it, or another district that needs it. And then we'll go and look for the borehole project for you. But you go and build a school there. The chief and his people, they don't need the school block. So the school block is lying there. Has the project benefited the people? If the consultation, or if the chiefs had been a formal part of the process, would that project have come to them? Would that money have been wasted?
Yes. No, I understand. I mean, whether you like it or not, they should be made to play
a certain role,
and which should be official. Which should be official.
Most certainly, this conversation, for me, I even asked questions as to whether or not the chief will know what developmental consent.
I mean, can you imagine
people will need? But as to whether or not that will be in the benefit of the people in the long run is a question even to be asked.
Certainly.
I mean, can you imagine Otunfo going to KMA to be part of their deliberation? People will be intimidated.
No. Definitely Otunfo will not go.
Yeah, people will be intimidated. But that's what I'm saying, that their reps, it will be good if their reps go. And that one, then the person is sitting in the stead of the chief or the king, and you accord him the respect, but the person can freely express him or herself because.
No, but okay. So let's use the same Otunfo example. As we speak, he is not a member of the assembly. He is not a member of the KMA.
Otunfo is not even a member of the Ashanti Regional House of Chiefs. He doesn't attend those.
But are you telling me he doesn't influence KMA?
Of course, he's got overriding influence. It's got overriding influence.
He may not go to the assembly, but the mayor will be going to the palace.
Yeah. Of course, you will go.
Exactly my point. Which is well, exactly I guess the
but I think all of them do. All of them do, except that, as we said, they should be given a special role to play, developmental role to play. and things should be made to do things in their name. For example, yes. So that you know that you reign for 20 years, and these are the projects you're able to do in your traditional area.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it should be made to do.
2 quick messages via Facebook from Kojo Fiagbe to you. It says, Mawuena, tell the UP man in the studio, that's a Bobak man, that I want to go under training with him. I'm NDC in heart, but love him and Senior Solomon Owusu too much. He comes back on the chieftaincy matter.
Are you defecting?
You should be answering that question. He comes back on the chieftaincy subject matter and says, if chiefs should be involved in the structured governance system, then appointment of chiefs and queens should be amended. Some of the chiefs are not. He says.
Is it appointment?
It should be amended.
Says if it should be subject to them being a part of decision making, will that also mean the amendment of the laws governing chieftaincy, such that they can be appointed? That will be taking us back to days.
No. It's not. I'm not sure. Being part of the local assemblies has nothing to do with appointments and I mean political appointments. No, the two are very different.
Absolutely.
The two are very different.
Time for us to do sports. Mutala Yakubu is here with the very latest. Queros, does he inspire confidence?
So we all sacked Otuado, and you brought us an old man.
No, you keep
speaking to the microphone.
Let me see.
Yes, this one. We all sacked Otuado.
You know, the very day
you brought us an old man.
The very day the sack was announced, I was in Germany. I was at the team's hotel. The only person I kept thinking of was that. Okay, so Sistus has been an agent of doom. He's trumpeted this for months, and now it has come to a reality. I was just thinking, I was like, Sistus was on this agenda for a very long time.
But you were happy with
not
the
happy because I mean, a man is losing his job. But
no, yes,
I think in the latter days of his reign, he shot himself into the foot. Where I got a lot disappointed with Otto was after that game against Austria. We went for the press conference. There were about 10 of us in there, Ghanaian journalists. We asked him his system and tactics. And the answer he gave, up to now, I still don't understand. Because any coach in the world has a system, has a tactics that he's known by. He told us that he doesn't have a particular tactics, but his tactics is flexible. It is what the opponent brings. That is what he looks at and also draws a tactics. And that is a no-no. There's no coach in this world who doesn't have a permanent identity.
So that was when you switched sides to
that was when I was like, no.
And the people,
you can't say this.
And the people who brought him are the same people who have brought us another coach.
Of course. But they are the football governing body. So they have
committee.
We are not challenging.
Is the search committee static?
For
the coach, the committee that searches for a coach.
It's the Executive Council of the Ghana Football Association.
It's not an independent committee.
It's the ESCO. The ESCO are in charge of that.
Here we do.
The ESCO are in charge. So the ESCO can tax people to do the search.
Okay.
But the ESCO are in charge of making that big decision.
Otuado,
yes.
And what's his name again?
Carlos Curios.
Curious.
Just like Curious. Yeah. Curious. If you can say, just say Curious. Carlos Curious. I mean, he inspires a bit of confidence because of his pedigree and what he's done in the last couple of years throughout his career.
For now, I am a pessimist.
Yes, 2010 he led Portugal to the World Cup in South Africa. They were knocked out by Spain, I think in the round of 16.
So he knows Ghana.
He knows Ghana. He's qualified. Oh, he was born in Mozambique, so he knows the African terrain a bit. He stayed in Mozambique, played football before he went back to his native Portugal. I mean, he's qualified Iran to the World Cup on 3 occasions, 2014, 18, and 22. So when it comes to World Cup,
he's not had the quality. I mean,
the teams with the teams that he's managed, apart from Portugal.
When he took Egypt, he took them to the finals of the
AFCON. He took them to the final. That was 2019 against Cameroon.
I've always said that we don't have a player, we don't have a skill deficit problem.
It's a technical.
You have always believed that it's a technical thing.
Yes, that's the position
I was fortunate to be with the team in Austria and in Germany. And I can boldly tell you that quality-wise, our team is not there as compared to what we used to have. Quality-wise, I witnessed all the training sections in Austria. I witnessed all the training sections in Germany. I can tell you that the kind of quality we used to have, the kind of quality. I'm not saying.
Used to, how far back are you measuring?
I'm measuring.
The Asamoah
up until even 2020.
Samoa
When we went to the World Cup. 2014 World Cup, we had Michael Essien, Kevin Prince Martin, Samoa Ajiman Bedu. I mean, we had a lot of quality. The quality we have now, we should understand that our golden generation has faded out. It happens to every team. Yes. Even Brazil currently are struggling. They do not have their golden generation. The Brazil golden generation was the 2002 up to 2006.
You can do a stretch to 2014.
Since then, Brazil have struggled. Argentina have had their golden generation and they will manage to win the World Cup, but they've struggled as well. I feel the Ghana team, our golden generation, has faded out. I'm not saying we don't have good players. We have good players, but we do not have players who can take us to the next level like we used to have. I mean, the quality of Kojo Asamoah back then, the quality of just Kojo Asamoah on the ball. This is a player who could play as a number 10, who could play as a left back. Super quality. He was playing for Juventus. Check the clubs that our teams are playing this time. It will give you a sense of where we are. Check the clubs our players.
So we have fixed the technical.
Yeah. Let me add this point that we can argue about where they play now.
Yeah.
And that Mourinho quote is very familiar. Where they play now.
Yeah.
Of the Black Stars. But that is also down to the decision as to who is called up.
Yeah.
Because there are players who play for some of the big clubs in the world and do not get called.
There's been an announcement.
But the point is that
we have a Black Stars school.
Understanding your discussion within the general context of our pool.
Yeah.
The general pool.
Okay.
We have
So the pool we have now
it's not as strong as
then,
but we can still.
But we can still get the
very
best
good
out
players
of
out of them.
And one thing about football,
if this new coach is allowed a free hand.
Well, Otuado wasn't having a free hand.
Don't take me back.
No, but he told us that.
No.
Don't take me.
Mawuena, he told us. Mawuena, he told us. No.
Let me ask the question. I'm just asking that if he's allowed a free hand, forget Otuado. If he's allowed a free hand to fish from that general pool, would we be able to make a good showing at the World Cup?
Brief answer, I beg you. Yes.
Since to say will be difficult. I mean, you look around and the quality we have. See, our best player is Antoine Semenyo. Kudus is injured. Thomas Partey, who is supposed to be our lifeline,
it's not been in the greatest.
I mean, mentally he's not even stable at the moment. We have a lot of issues. Salisu is injured.
Let's do sports. I'm sure when the World Cup is drawing close, we'll have a full session.
But we had the announcement 2 days ago of Carlos Queiroz. In the coming days, there will be a big announcement as well, and it's one that no, not at all. It's one that people it will divide opinion. It's not the DIU issue. It will come from within England. It's one that will divide opinion. Some will be happy.
Assistant coach?
Some will not be happy.
We might have Hudson Odoi join.
Well, I don't know. It will come within from around England.
That's you. Let's do sports. We'll get into all of that. We will do full sports session.
How many days to the World Cup?
We are about 60 something. Let's now do some sports here on 3FM Sunrise. My name is Mutala Yakubu. Coming up this morning, Carlos Hughes, the name head coach of the Black Stars, and Ghanaians have shared the opinion on that. Brekum Chelsea captain has also talked about tightening security in the Ghana Premier League. And in the UEFA Champions League, Barcelona and Liverpool have been shown the exit door. Let's now settle for the details, and you know that the Ghana Football Association have appointed Portuguese tactician Carlos Queiroz as the new coach of the Black Stars. Queiroz replaces Otto Addo on a short-term deal. Tax with leading the team into the 2026 FIFA World Cup following a restructuring of the technical team. Three Sports took to the street to ask Ghanaians of what they make of that appointment, and this is what they had to say.
It's a good decision. Looking at his track record and the teams and countries that he has coached, I think he's not bad, but only just that he's a little bit old, he's aging, he has grown. But we will manage him. It's not a bad idea. Just for this World Cup, it's cool. With his experience, he can do it. Looking at what he did with Iran and the other teams, I think the last time Oman or so, he's good. He can do the work. With the talent that we have, we just need a good technical director, a coach with good tactics. And I think this Carlos guy, he has it. Man has it. So he will do the job for us.
Carlos Torres, me tie the records no mama say so the records no but me that you kakra dey anke but me boy as a Black Star team. In terms of coach, that means discipline from no discipline no to me achieve kakra na coach ni the number kakaka kawa Ghana and Argentina fan.
It's a good decision though, but if any coach that will come to Ghana is a good coach, if Curtis in his team will allow the coach to work, you understand? If they won't allow the coach to work, you see that coach as a bad coach, but it's not a bad coach. But he can do the job. If you watch about the teams that you have coached so far, and you watch the profile of the man, surely he can do the job. He can do that. In Ghana, we have the qualities that he can call and assemble us for us to go to the World Cup. For me, I think he can do the job.
Black Star coach, where they were going to start our national assignment there, or a downgrade of Otuado cry and get one came into Otuado because national team coach now, Papa Bieri, and I've been considering this age 73 years, I think it's a good idea cry. And I mean, one thing I know for sure is say, I'm for Otuado, no, I knew says a more opportunity for coach. I'm for somebody Western Otuado, I'm not even surprised. But
so those were Ghanaians sharing their thoughts on the new appointment that is Carlos Queiroz, who will be handling the Black Stars of Ghana. Let's come back and do something locally where captain of Brekum Chelsea, Prince Anane, has called on the Ghana Football Association to introduce stricter travel safety measures for clubs following the deadly armed robbery attack on the team bus that led to the death of midfielder Dominic Frimpong. The incident occurred on the Bebiani Gosu Road at Ayiresu while the team was returning from their Ghana Premier League fixture against FC Samatex. Speaking on Akoma FM, Anani appealed for reforms in how clubs travel for away matches, especially long distance journeys after game.
As media, many two crowds be up on any two days to say convention so in India say crowd be a would to corner don't need more than 3 hours, maybe or then and Canada. We are counted at the time then what was and if you could no matter the journey is say you travel and I think when you police you know and send you occur in Manaunia police can do any the or the work. That we are to be how I would see the main yet maybe a new design that needs me to be up to when yes area.
Prince Anane is the captain of Brekum Chelsea, and once again we say commiseration with the entire Brekum Chelsea for losing midfielder Dominic Frimpong. Now, before we head to Europe, let's take a moment and do some boxing where Ghanaian boxer Theophilus Kpakpo Alote, who recently defeated Namibia's Jonas Erastus to win the WBA Africa Super Flyweight title, has now set his sights on becoming a world champion. Alote, who secured the 7th round technical knockout, told 3 Sports that his ultimate dream is to bring a world title to Ghana.
I'm aiming for a world title shot, and
the opponent that my coach mentioned their name, they are the people who win the world title, so I have to be more focused on them. And now I'm in the world ranking, I mean 1 to 15, I'm in, so I have to look up to those kind of bosses who are there because they are also aiming for the world title show. So if I have a challenge with them, I have to fast through them before I can meet the opponent. So I'm not just only watching those two people, but more focused on those two people because they are holding the world title.
Theophilus Alute there. Now let's switch our attention and do the UEFA Champions League, where Liverpool were knocked out by Paris Saint-Germain after sealing a 2-0 win at Anfield to win 4-0 on aggregate. The second half double from Ousmane Dembele was all the defending champions needed to stay alive in their title defense. Let's hear from Liverpool manager Arne Slot.
I think we made a lot of progression compared to last week. I have to give a lot of credits to the players, how hard they worked. I have to give a lot of credits to our fans, how they helped us tonight to execute our game plan. And that means if we have a high press, it's so helpful if there are fans behind you to keep on pushing you. That's what they did. Unfortunately, it's one of the many examples of this season where we weren't able to score from the many chances we had. Again, we were so far underperforming in terms of XG. And that is just an ongoing thing with us throughout the whole season.
And Slot is manager of Liverpool. In Spain, it was more agony for FC Barcelona after being dumped out by rivals Atletico Madrid. Barca struck twice early to level the tie on aggregate, but Ademola Lookman's goal right before the break was enough to send Atletico to their first semi-final in more than 5 years. Barcelona manager Hansi Flick insisted the side played better across the two legs and should have gone through.
I think when you see both matches also in Barcelona, we had a lot of chances, and today also, so we have to score the goals. It's like that, and I will not say about referees about these things. I think we also just deserved it also that to stay in the next round, but we were not so lucky. No, it's like we'll see after the season. We have now La Liga. We want to win the La Liga, and we have to work hard to win it. So it's our, this is normally the homework, the importance of the titles. I know that Champions League, everyone wants to win it, and of course it's a fantastic competition. But at the end, in every league, the champions are fantastic. So we are on the way, but we have still to work. And then after that, we have a look. We analyze the season, and then we see what we have to do.
We are trying to do something.
Drama is not over, and it's going to be even more interesting because Arsenal would be in action tonight as they come up against a Sporting CP. Now Arsenal took a 1-0 lead in the first leg, and their manager Mikel Arteta is confident that they would finish the job.
We are trying to do something, and in this competition that hasn't been done in the history of the club in 140 years. So that tells you the difficulty of that and what you guys are doing. It's the first time that we are 3 years in a row in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. The first time in our history. For other clubs, that's the daily meal. For us, no. So we value a lot where we are. We have the opportunity tomorrow to go to the semi-finals. We are competing to win the Premier League, and we're in a really strong position after 22 years without doing it. So we know the difficulty of that, but the beauty of it is that is difficult, that is challenging, and that's why we are so willing to do it.
There's a heavyweight clash tonight at the Allianz Arena, where Bayern Munich will be coming up against Real Madrid. First leg of this fixture ended 2-1 in favor of the German side, and they go into the game with that advantage over Real Madrid. Their head coach is Vincent Kompany.
I think one of the big things that I try to stress all the time is we have a lot of respect for this Real Madrid team, always. We did it before we played in the Bernabeu, still now. For sure, like I said, we are preparing for the best version of Real Madrid, and the best version you saw against City this year. And for sure, I think that the results that they're having right now is not a reflection of the talent of this team. The talent of this team, if you go through each position, it's still one of the best teams in Europe by far. So that's the reality. But then also, I'm a little bit of these type of stories. They're not the real stories for me, because I'm more. What is the history of Barcelona? What is the history of Atletico Madrid, of Liverpool, of Bayern Munich, of PSG, Arsenal? So you go through every team in this competition at this level, and everybody can tell a pretty good story about when they did something incredible.
Vincent Kompany there speaking ahead of the game. For Real Madrid midfielder Jude Bellingham, tonight's game feels like a final, and the season hinges on this.
Seems like that. It comes down to, for us, for the club, and all the players understand the importance of it, and we'll be ready to give everything to them.
So it is tonight. Bayern Munich come up against Real Madrid at the Allianz Arena. Let's finish off with some news from the United States, where Javier Mascherano has resigned as Inter Miami head coach, citing personal reasons, just one season after leading the team to the greatest achievement in the club's history. The Argentine coach confirmed his decision in an official statement, thanking the club, players and fans for their time on the bench. In the 2025 season, his first in charge, Mascherano achieved remarkable results, winning 2 major trophies, including the club's first MLS Cup title and setting a record with 101 goals scored in a single season. So it's over between Inter Miami and Javier Mascherano. So Lionel Messi will be hoping and waiting to see who becomes the new head coach of his club. This is where we call it the sports update here on 3FM Sunrise. My name is Mutala Yakubu. There's more after this.
Chopba Conference is happening. Starting Saturday, 18th April 2026 and continuing every other Saturday. You can enjoy authentic Chopba selections right here at Peduasi Valley Resort. Fufuana, Face the Wall, Abenkwan, Aponchin Kakra, Ebunebunu. We have them all. Also on rotation will be live DJ and cultural troupe performances. Eat, drink, and dance all you want with your family and friends as you enjoy this authentic Peduasi Chopba experience. For reservations and enquiries, call 0540-125-555 or 0540-125-554. Peduasi Valley Resort. Live life.
Electric energy. Electric.
Protect yourself from germs and bacteria with confidence. Cleanse hand soap effectively kills 99.9%
respects your peace and treats you as family. We are your first and only choice. We are also located in town, just about 25 minutes drive to the Accra Business Center. Reach us on 0256 060 665 and 025 607 0666. Let's talk to you about the Women in Business Dialogue Series 2026, and the Business and Financial Times is set to host the third edition of the Women in Business Dialogue Series under the theme From Market to Market Leader, empowering women, SMEs, and young women in agribusiness for sustainable growth. This conversation is coming off on Tuesday, April 28, 2026 at the Lancaster Hotel in Kumasi from 9 a.m. Driving women-led business growth in Ghana. The Women in Business Dialogue Series is an initiative aimed at promoting entrepreneurship, financial inclusion, and sustainable growth among women-led businesses in Ghana and beyond. This year's edition will convene women entrepreneurs, market leaders, policymakers, financial institutions, and development partners to deliver high-level plenary discussions, practical masterclass sessions, opportunities to connect, network, and learn from top business leaders, practical insights, and strategies to grow and scale business exposure to financing, markets, and institutional support systems, guidance on overcoming barriers in the business ecosystem, and access to skills development and mentorship opportunities. Sponsors and partners: lead sponsor Ecobank Ghana. Also, we have Gino, Unilever Ghana, the Bank Hospital. For media contacts, reach us on 0209 457 427 or 0244 725 688. Media partners: TV3, Unia TV, 3FM, Sasi Radio, City FM, Hello FM, Kespen FM and TV, Lawson Radio and TV as well. Him if he has any tips for us in terms of what we should be benefiting tomorrow. He's asking me if he's the Deputy Energy Minister. Maybe after this exposition, we will lobby the president on his behalf. Also, concerns across the spectrum as to whether or not recent spate of arrest amounts to politicization and political intimidation. The president is also expected to launch the free primary health care today. And some skirmishes around the Pandai NDC review get the indication they want to withdraw. But all of that and more is what we're getting ourselves into this morning for you here on the 3FM Sunrise. All right. So let's get into it. Big conversations right now here on the 3FM Sunrise.
The big conversation. on 3FM Sunrise. The big conversation on 3FM Sunrise.
8:26. Let's get into the conversations. Ebo Bachman, he was here, was with us during the newspaper review, but I saw with us Prince Derek J, is a member of the NDC communications team, and Mark Iwusiako, convener, Election Watch Ghana, in studio with me this morning. I see Prince Derek J shuffling through the papers, seeking to get a specific story. Do you mind sharing with the listeners what is piquing your interest?
I was listening to you guys on my way here, and you guys are talking of obviously
once lies mentioned.
Yes, and you're talking about the traditional council doing something or the other. I think they are the biggest part of the problem. The traditional council is the biggest part of the problem. Yeah, the existence of a traditional council in La, or the non-existence of same, is at the bane of all the things happening there. What we need is a La Manche, who will be the president of the traditional council and will be the occupant of the stool. In the absence of a La Manche, an occupant of the stool, everybody seems to be doing their own thing, and La is the worst for it. Some people are masquerading as occupants of the stool and selling lands, which is not the precept of the traditional council. In fact, that the Supreme Court has ruled 5-0 that the traditional councils should not be anywhere near land and should not. They are a statutory body. The state cannot be, meddling in these things. So when you go and do these things, you come and talk nice. Charlie, they should stop that kind of thing.
But you're a man wearing two hats.
I was. Yes. So I've taken off the first hat, and I'm ready for today's business.
In your fugu and in two hats.
Yes. I finished dealing with the one that I listened to you on radio when I was getting here.
So that was the first hat.
Yes, I've seen Otum for World Miss in Ghana to honor Asantini as a pillar of peace. Wonderful. You understand? Same should be said in La. Unfortunately, we don't have a chief. And for 7 years, we don't, because some people are deliberately keeping that stool empty so they can sell lands and dissipate stool property. Do nonsense at the beach, just chop. What kind of nonsense is this? And the chieftaincy ministry, in fact, this week, I think the president should turn his eyes there. I've seen all manner of chiefs come because of that demolition exercise, and everybody is there talking. Where's the La Manche? Where's the La Manche and all this? Don't we need a La Manche? Why? Why is this going on? So I've taken off that hat.
You've taken off that hat. Good morning once again.
Good morning.
You are fascinated about that.
Yeah, President, because I first when I entered I thought, wow, what is this guy wearing? President.
Yes, we have to deal with things like that.
Mark, I trust that all is well with you as well.
And my baby as well.
Yeah. We're going to start off with conversations about fuel because we're expecting some announcements. There's been different proposals made by different groupings. I think for our viewers, it's a radio station, and so more often than not we'll do with listeners, but because we stream on Facebook as well and YouTube, there are viewers involved. If you're on the stream, you realize that we're sharing bits and pieces in terms of opinions from different groupings, and IES, Imani, COPEC, and one other institution in Step R, they are asking for a more comprehensive rationalization of all existing taxes, levies, and margins with the aim to permanently removing all that are a drag on individual and national resources. No tax there is a drag on national resources. I can say that for a fact in terms of the to the extent that it goes into government coffers and is used for something. When you take it off, you have to replace it with something. And so there's that. Create a strategic reserve fund by revisiting some of the levies proposed for review above, whose revenues could be utilized at all times in the purchase and storage of real-time fuel that can be used to positively intervene in the domestic market when the unforeseen happens. and also modernization and retooling of the country's refinery and storage space by committing to make adequate investment in the country's major oil refinery, Tor and Boss, which is now known as BEST, such that Tor, together with the other refineries, will be in a much better position to refine the country's crude liftings, and Boss would have the needed infrastructure to store more, is what they tell us. And I think we're going through this early this morning. One of the CSOs, they are proposing that, look, if you put together all the taxes and then the margins or the levies, it sums up to 4 cedis in our price build-up. Government should take off 1 cedi 67 pesos of that for the next 4 weeks to cushion the Ghanaian consumer. And then we will see how that goes. And so these are the proposals, and the amounts to be slashed. Let me come to Prince Derek J first, because he's the government's rep here. NDC, I know, but NDC is in government, so I can safely say the government's rep in studio. In terms of the cushioning, what are we to expect? We've had a mention of the energy minister to make an announcement. Has there been any briefing within the communication bureau as to what that could look like for the Ghanaian?
Well, good morning to all Ghanaians, especially people who are either buying fuel today or boarding vehicles that are being fueled. I believe that it won't be long. About 10 a.m., 2 things will happen. First, the president will be launching a very special project in primary health care. That's a free primary health care program. And that's to ensure that the gaps in our health sector, are plugged at all levels. You remember in the first Mahama administration, he got his appointees to, put some money down for CHIPS compounds and so on. The Minister of Health has also gone round and has indicated that government is going to be taking up the completion of the Agenda 111 projects in turn. So each year in a budget cycle, X number, about 10 or so, will be tackled, and the remainder will be given to private sector, particularly those who are already in the business of healthcare. I mean, the religious bodies that have, healthcare facilities, who the government has been given, some support in terms of doctors and nurses and all that, will be given opportunity to bid in a transparent manner for these hostels to be completed. The hostels by themselves will not give healthcare. Human beings professionals need to be put in place. And so in addition to the Mahama Cares, which is supposed to look at the non-communicable diseases and so on, we're looking at every, and that's how holistic the president's programs are. Then the second thing is the fuel that you're talking about. It's expected to drop, but I think also that much of the conversation has been on NPP's noise-making proposals at, politicizing what does not need to be politicized. NDC or Ghanaians have not gone for any war in Iran, nor have we blocked the Straits of Hormuz. It's a function of Israel and the U.S. attack on Iran, which has led to that, which in defense of themselves, the Iranians have decided to take some actions together with their allies to, as it were, cripple the world and bring attention to the war so that the war can come to an end. Unfortunately, whereas there has been an attempt at a ceasefire and talks which, happened with high-ranking persons, including the U.S. Vice President, unfortunately, they did not reach a deal. And America is also blocking the Hormuz. So the two sides are blocking the Hormuz, which takes about almost 1/5 of the world's, fuel from the Gulf region into places like ours and so on. But of course, 1/5 means much more is available. And so we need to look at those. The ones that are available include that which is in Ghana already, because we produce some oil. And we cannot put oil in our fuel tanks. We need processed fuel. Thankfully, after about 8 years of Tor being put on ice, whereas people were collecting salaries under the Akufo-Addo Bawumia regime. The Mahama regime has now ensured that Tor is back and refining, oil for consumption. There's a lot of, activities towards getting our colleagues in the sub-region, Nigeria and others to also, work closely with us to ensure fuel sufficiency on the continent, and that would also impact positively on Ghana. We do know that there are other refineries that are to come on stream, including one that's already on stream. And so hopefully things will improve. And we all pray also that the war will end soon, now that everybody's feeling the crunch, because beyond not having fuel, the economies of various countries are going to be very badly affected, because the supply chain has been disrupted because of just Dubai, being a hub for, travel and commerce. I think that this war, unlike the Russia-Ukraine war, may come to an end very speedily because of these and other factors. But the president and his government have not sat idly by. They have always been looking at cushioning Ghanaians, like I used this in the health sector. Similar things are being done in the education sector, where there are some recruitments. I mean, albeit fewer than what we would have wanted. We cannot recruit enough for the health sector, but there's some recruitments going on. Same with education. Unfortunately, we don't have the means as the money to do these things in the optimum manner, because the MPP people stole the money and they are being, asked to account. Some of them have fled, especially the one who held the purse, that is Bawumia's deputy, that's Ken Ofriata. He's fled with his chef de maison and others. We're pursuing them. But until we get them and also are able to recover all the loot, there will not be enough money. So there has to be some cuts. The president and his cabinet have taken some, decisions, and these decisions are not mine to communicate. They will be communicated very soon, hopefully today, by the energy minister, who is the one who is designated to speak on our energy issues. In fact, the president tasked him and the finance minister after the crunch, meeting to try and see where they can do cuts and where they can, do some magic. And they have done so. Yeah, the adjustments have been made. And at least one thing I can say is that NDC or the Mahama administration is not going to dance to the tune of the MPP. The MPP just wants to dislocate Ghana's economy, dislocate everything. Actually, they want to bring back Dumso. So you hear from the MPP.
When you say dislocate, is it because of the amounts they've mentioned should be cut?
You listen to them and they are parroting de-levy because of the e-levy. You see, that's just politicization. They have tried to call something de-levy to stick, just to equalize the e-levy that all Ghanaians were up against. There's no de-levy. There was a 1 CD that has been set aside to ensure that our lights stay on, which they are calling Dumso, because they want Dumso to come back. They were not able to pay the independent power producers, and they owed them in billions of dollars. And of course, who runs a business and has such debts hanging and continues doing charity? Nobody. So the independent power producers were threatening every single day, and they had every right to. The government has negotiated with them and has ring-fenced an amount. You see, the difference between the NDC and the MPP is that the NDC, on one hand, does things deliberately and puts things aside deliberately for specific things and actually delivers. So you see the MPP, for example, they come and cap, all sorts of things from the GET fund through to every other fund, including the District Assembly Common Fund, and they chop it. They don't use it to do the things that they say they are going to do. They come, they take even, cocoa money, give it to me and others to go and do roads, and nothing is done. That's the difference. In fact, if the MPP remains a political party after a few months, I'll be surprised. That would be the unfortunate doing of the UP, who should be taking that position. And I like the way they are responsibly dealing with issues. They come and they talk as Ghanaians, and that is how politicians should be. Unfortunately, MPP hasn't learnt. All they want to do is to cripple. They want to send us back to doing so. So their target is, hey, take off the 1 CD, so that the independent power producers will not get the money. The government, on the other hand, is looking at other adjustments, because that one it's an agreement that is had with the IPPs. The Mama administration likes to keep its promises, and I think Ghanaians want promises kept. Unfortunately, we can't keep all at once because of the looting that had gone on, and most Ghanaians are crying that the Operation Recover All Loot must happen. I think that is the one failing of the NDC. I must admit, the government is not winning on that side, and I'm sure one of your topics is dealing with so-called harassment of people who have stolen the money. So-called, and I say so-called harassment. Ghanaians are craving for all the looters to be apprehended. So if there are even a few being, Ghanaians are not happy. They want all the money back so that we don't even have to have these cards. In fact, when you go to the pumps, assuming all the monies have been retrieved from Keno Friata, Baumia, Akufo-Addo and others, including Maxwell, Kofi Joma and others, if you go to the pump, you get free fuel and you'll be even given some money.
Are you sure of what you're saying?
The agenda 111 hospitals would have all been done. And when you go to hospital, they'll give you food. You understand? If you go to school, there'll be enough teachers there, and they'll even give you extra books.
Why do you speak as though the problems of this country started from 8 years ago?
I haven't said so. I'm saying that
if you recover all the loot, you finish all the hospitals. There'll be teachers in the schools. There'll be free food at the hospitals, and all of Ghanaians will get free fuel.
Yes. No, I'm saying that.
Exaggerate, but
I say all the loot. I'm not talking about MPP loot alone. I'm talking about all the loot. And you see, sometimes I'm not going to do the NPP NDC thing.
Right.
All the loot is not saying all MPP loot. If there's NDC loot, it must be covered. Loot from all time. If you can identify some loot from 1960, please bring it forward and let's collect it. But the ones that are visible right now, for example, and you want me to mention names, I mention names. I don't see why some people should be in parliament today. That's I was listening to what's his name, Samia Wuku, talking about corruption. I was like, wow, won't you go and hide?
He's not here to respond.
No, won't he go and hide lotteries? The good
good causes fund.
He's still in parliament. This is a party report. All of them are in there still in parliament. Goodness. And the media is watching. Well, CSOs are happy.
It was a subject matter of fuel, and so yes, you're getting into other areas.
No, but their monies, if collected, will fuel the fuel crisis being removed.
Let me bring in Mark on fuel price. I think yesterday we were having a conversation at some point in terms of what the expectation is for you. We know the minister is supposed to speak a lot later, as has been confirmed by Prince. What should it be like? By what estimation should we be looking at, even as the government considers what this could mean for revenue generation?
A very good morning to you, Egbeta, and my co-panelists. Also, just as you said, the others who are watching us on social media, very good morning to them. But before I delve into that, over the weeks I've been following this Richard Ananque's matrimonial case in court. And I think yesterday, Madam Bampo Oye made a very strong statement condemning some aspect of the judgment that came. Yeah, I think it is very important we look into that. I have been a witness to some of these matrimonial cases in court, and it seemed to be that the judges sometimes take some of these issues personal and begin to use languages that are unhealthy. For instance, how do you say alimony is ridiculous? I mean, you don't really say that. Of course, there are factors that leads to paying alimony, but if you come to say alimony is ridiculous and it belongs to a different generation and all that, I don't think that it is very good. It's a clear shift of focus away from the responsibilities of the court, and I think that it does not also interpret or resolve the dispute based on available facts and evidences that is before the judge. So please, let our judges be a bit mindful of how these things go, so that our women, at the end of the day, we are not just calling for alimonies for them for calling sake, but if at the end of the day it is needed that they give them those alimonies, I beg, they should give it to them so that their psychological well-being will not be distorted and all that. I don't pray for such things to be happening, but let's be very, very mindful about that.
Can you break it down? Alimony is money for what?
In fact, this conversation of fuel prices coming down has been one of the things that all Ghanaians have been looking out for. But I have said that in quite recent times, when the US-Iran war started, we saw how world price market of crude was going up. I think 2 weeks ago, or before 2 weeks ago, we had a drum of crude oil at the range of $130. And today,
Got to 120.
Today, right?
No, it's down.
March ending of March.
And now the price
120 is not coming down.
The price is coming down.
Yeah. So as at now, it's at 95.
It's at 95.
So it was 94 this morning when I checked, but it's now to 95.
So if previous week it was around 120, and we didn't call for this, and now it is 95. Why the rush? I kept asking myself, why the rush? So if tomorrow we go to sleep and we wake up and the price is around 90, should we expect the minister to still come out and tell us that yes, this is what the government have done as a form of relief? Because the prices are coming down, and that is all what we were praying for.
But the stock available was not bought at
the 95.
Prevailing
Yes.
95.
So
and all
it is
of
for which reason I believe the National Petroleum Authority have engaged some of the BDCs, and I've asked that, looking at the challenge before them, they should try and help them manage the situation so that we don't look at increasing the prices, for which reason the prices have been where it has been till now. It can continue to be where it is now whilst we experience or enjoy the new reduction. So for me, the 1 cedi 65 pesos the CEOs are calling for, of course it is going to cushion the consumers or the customers, but I think 1 cedi 65 pesos is too much on the high side. The reason is this: each and every tax or levy on our petroleum products are there for a specific purpose. And so, if
even when there are no sunset clauses and some have been taken for God knows how.
Exactly. So if we are calling for removal and reduction of some of these taxes, I ask that they are there for specific reasons and for specific purposes. So if we are removing them, would we be able to raise the needed funds to continue to do what we are expected to do? A typical example is the UPPF. If we are reducing the amount of UPPF that is paid, what then happens to the operational cost of the operations they run? Transporting. UPPF mostly is meant for those who do the transportation of our petroleum products, so that we have even prices across all board, whether here or in the middle belt or the northern belt. So if you are reducing it, I ask that, where do we then raise funds to, make up the difference? Of course, until someone is able to be able to tell me that the 90 pesos on the UPPF is so huge that even when we take 20 or 30 pesos, we'll be able to do whatever we are supposed to do when it comes to the operational activities. If not, we have realized also that in the previous administration, we took funds for UPPF and people mismanaged the funds. Maybe it could be one of the reasons why people are calling for the reduction of the UPPF fund. However, the 1 cedi 65 pesos, as I said, is too much on the high side. Yesterday, I saw our senior brother Franklin Kujo posting their proposed reductions on his Facebook wall, and I saw that there were some few errors in it. In fact, I drew his attention and those corrections were made. I've also seen Benjamin Insia from SEMSI also looking at some proposed tax cuts to a tune of 1 Ghana cedi. I think that is manageable, because there are some components that he felt should not be touched. And those components are, for example, the boss margin. The boss margin is around, I think, 12 pesos or so. But these bust margins also have specifics and important responsibilities that is supposed to do. We are here, we've been here in Ghana, and we always transport petroleum product from APD, which is Tema, all the way through to Bupe and Co. The only way we're able to pump products to Akosombo is through a 6 inches pipeline that is buried from the APD, which is the Pumbaria, to Akosombo. I believe that we need to look at redeveloping that particular stretch, get a 12-inch pipe, so that all these bottlenecks and disruptions and demurrages that we do experience would be a thing of the past. And again, there are other areas we can also be looking at. I remember when this administration came into being, the Minister for Energy and Green Development said he came out with a committee. He's formed a committee, and what the committee is doing is to ensure that they are able to build a bigger tank farm in the western region, so that if we're able to lay pipes from Tema, that is the port, to the western region, we could be able to pump petroleum products into those tanks, and that will even reduce the rate of accidents our bigger trucks do experience on our roads. It will also, in a way, reduce the amount of levies we pay, especially on bus margins. But when we don't have all these things in place, it becomes so difficult to put in any implementation measures that will help solve some of these challenges for us. But as for me, I think the 1 cedi 65 pesos they are calling for is too much on the high side.
How much will be good enough?
Yes, I am
on the side of the people, and also in terms of easing what could be pressure. It's essentially easing pressure on both sides, because when the pressure goes to one side, which is the consumer, we feel it and we're bearing the branch, and the government doesn't want that. If the government were to absorb it all, then revenue will suffer, and then it will come back in terms of challenges within management of the economy, because finances is pretty much everything.
Let's also not forget that when government absorbs these levies and taxes, it will come back to pay. The government will come back and then pay these levies again to the BDCs. But you see, I have said earlier that the world market price currently is reducing. Of course, it would draw my attention to the fact that the stocks we have available was procured at when the price was around 120. But there have been negotiations with the BDCs and government as far as NPA is concerned to be able to manage the situation up until now. When you look at the price coming down, it means automatically it is going to translate into the pump price, which will definitely come down. I've said also that if you're able to manage your cedi and the dollar very well, some of these challenges, I mean, you will feel it, but it will not be as harsh as, when your cedi is not really performing. Benjamin Insian's SEMSI proposed cuts. He said the energy sector shortfall debt recovery levy, he is proposing a cut of 48 pesos. The road fund levy, he's proposing a cut of 20 pesos. Energy fund levy, he is not proposing even anything there. The special petroleum tax is not proposing anything. UBPF is proposing a 20 pesos cut. So if you put all these things together, of course, when it comes to primary distribution margin, which of yesterday I called you about, that has to do with the BDCs, right? And if you look at what the BDCs have done over the period of time when petroleum prices started shooting up, I think they've done so well that we don't need to touch those primary distribution margin. But of course, there are other levies and taxes that governments can look at cutting so that it brings some sort of relief. We should also be mindful of the fact that when petroleum prices goes up, it affects almost every sector of our economy. Unfortunately, when the prices goes up, quickly transportation prices are increased. But when the prices come down, the resultant decrease is very, very slow. And so let's look at a win-win situation where we'd all be in a very comfortable situation, rather than when the prices goes up, some are very quick to increase, but when it comes down, like VIP, like VIP. Some are not able to. But my concern was on the boss margin because of the kind of work they do. They need to look at redeveloping their funnels and their pipelines, increasing them from 6 to 12 inches, building enough storage tanks, far from Tema, especially close to the middle and then the northern belt, so that fuel scarcity will not be a challenge when we find ourselves in some of this problem.
Absolutely. Ebo, let me come to you on what your expectations will be in terms of that announcement as well today.
Yes, let me take the conversation to another level. And this one, I don't want to be seen to be insulting anybody this morning. I'm quoting something from the Bible, but I'm using the Message version of the Bible. Do you read the Message version of the Bible? Now, things are said as they are. I mean, they don't.
Nobody sugarcoats anything.
Yeah, as for the Message Bible, and I'm going to read Proverbs 6 to 8. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6 to 8. It says, "You lazy fool." Say, "You lazy fool. Look at an ant. Watch it closely. Let it teach you a thing or two. Nobody has to tell it what to do. All summer, it stores up food. At harvest, it stockpiles provisions." So that is what the Bible says. Say we should learn from the ant. The ant will teach us wisdom. I'm talking about I'm saying Ghanaians. Now, if you look at the situation we find ourselves, it can best be described as what is the word that is used here. Okay, let me take you back. So, how many cars did we have in Ghana at the time we had our independence? How many cars? Very few. How many industries that were available to be powered with fuel? Very few. So after how many years? 50-something years. Ghana is 69, right? After 69 years. Anytime there's a problem at the world, I feel like in terms of world market or fuel price at the world market, there's a problem, we have a problem. Anytime there's a small shake-up of price of any commodity, we suffer. If it goes against us, we suffer. The question is, at what point are we going to learn from the ant, so that as a nation, as a way of having our own strategic reserve, national strategic reserve, 6 months strategic reserve, that should anything happen, that we can't import fuel from any other country for 6 months. How are we going to survive? Should anything happen? Ask ourselves.
It pretty much means industry will shut down, because consistently we've been told we have 6 weeks of fuel to cover for the period, and it doesn't go beyond that. So
and here you are.
I am wondering how that will play out.
You don't control, much as ants don't control the rain. We don't control geopolitical issues, but at least we can take actions within that can help us to survive should there be any problem at the world market of any product. Are you getting it? So, reducing prices, we are just scratching the surface. So we reduce all the price. If the war should escalate, we'll have to look at the price again. So for how long are we going to do that to ourselves as a nation? Can't we as a nation say that fuel is very important, indispensable commodity? Therefore, having reserves, enough reserves, you should think, it should behave as though anything can happen in the world tomorrow. So let's prepare today. Even the reserves we have is for the private sector. It's for the private sector. As a nation, what have you done to have fuel reserves that can last us months? That should be the conversation way forward, though. I mean, not this reduce the price today. We can reduce for short-term comfort, right? What about the long term? Should this war continue? How are we going to survive? So now we have to pray that the war comes to an end. As a nation, let's prepare ourselves. I'm told Kenya is still selling fuel cheap because they have enough reserves. Let's store, let's behave like the ants. Because you can have more Trumps around the world. Today we are having one. If tomorrow we have about 4 Trumps across the globe? So for me, that should be the conversation forward. What must we do as a nation in terms of having enough strategic reserves to sustain us for a long time? Can you imagine if you have enough, we wouldn't be bothered because the price has gone up, but we have the ones that we bought when the price was cheap. And we can sell it to our people cheap. By the time 6 months, 4 months, the situation would have normalized. Then we can go back. Now, let me tell you what is happening at the international market. If demand and supply alone were to be allowed to determine the price of this crude oil, a barrel will have to be sold between $70 to $75 if demand and supply alone. But because of the war, we have something called war premium. The war premium is what has increased the price to this level. So as we speak, because of the ceasefire, the war premium was reduced. The war premium is like you got like fear tax. I fear my investment can be affected.
So I put something small on it.
So that's the war premium. Now the war premium has come down. That is why the fuel price is now 90 something and all that. We are just praying that this war stops so that we go back to the baseline, which is $70 to $75, in which case we can still go back to our 9 cedis, 10 cedis per liter fuel and all that. But until that happens, what must we do as a people? For me, yes, if you're going to reduce, I've said it, let's not touch the 1 cedi. I want to be consistent on that. Let's not touch the 1 cedi. Because if indeed the 1 cedi was introduced for the payment of legacy energy debt and also to buy fuel to keep our lights on, then let the 1 cedi be there. Because the question is, if you take the 1 cedi, how are you going to get the money to be able to pay the IPPs and also to...
But when the 1 cedi was being introduced, the government, being mindful of the fact that prices were a bit high and introducing the 1 cedi would have resulted in a bit of pressure on pockets, paused the implementation for at least 2 weeks. And they promised that, this levy, you are enjoying some windfall as consumers because of the performance of the city. And so let us tax this. If there should be a situation, or when there's a situation where prices are escalating, the government will also consider, so do this for us whilst we also use that to keep the lights on. If there's pressure on your pocket, then we'll ease it as well for you. So they can't go back on that one.
Which one?
On taking off the 1 cedi for just 4 weeks. It's not just for 4 weeks, and then returning it when prices become stable.
As I said, for the 4 weeks, where are you going to get money to pay the IPPs and also to buy fuel for? I'm just.
That's exactly what the NPP want.
That is the question, because we don't want to. We don't want to sleep in. We don't want to experience doom. So we want to have our lights on, and if the 1 cedi is the one that is guaranteeing us that, then let's keep it there.
So where do you stand on?
But the reduction, we can look at other areas that you can cut. But I'm saying
none of them will be as steep as 1 cedi, which could bring about.
It's not a steepness.
You see, we have a choice to make. As I've always said, we have a short-term relief. The question is whether we are prepared to sacrifice long-term fiscal stability, energy stability on the altar of short-term comfort. Whether we are prepared to do that. Because if we don't focus on the long term, and look at the short term, you may have the comfort, you may have the relief, but what will be the effect in the long run? So that's why I'm saying that if the 1 cedi was introduced, as we were told, to do two things, to pay our legacy debt and even to pay them currently, because you have two payments, the debt and the current payment, okay? And also to buy fuel. If that is what the 1 cedi is meant for, then let's not touch it. I mean, it's as simple as that.
There's a question, and I'm coming to you, Prince. There's a question that, look, the 1 cedi you said was to pay for energy sector debt and help buy fuel. We know in the component of whatever it is PURC does in computing tariffs for us in paying, they factor in fuel cost as well. So give us evidence of what that 1 cedi has been used for. How much have you gathered? How much has been used to do what? Show it to us and let us know what you've used it for if you want us to continue to pay.
So that's another conversation.
That's
another conversation altogether.
The question assess itself. Have you lately heard any of the IPPs threatening? Are they being paid? Or they are just quiet for being quite sick?
They are being paid. That's exactly one of the reasons.
That is one of the things that is happening.
One of the reasons that is happening is that the current energy minister has ensured a strict compliance to the cash waterfall mechanism. So ECG revenue has improved. And in fact, we are in the month of April. I yet to see the financial statement from ECG, for instance. I want to see how well audited financials. I want to see how well they've done for the year 2025 in terms of increasing their revenue and how it has aligned with all of the operations. I'm sure that's a call I'll make subsequently. But that can be attributed to that as well.
I think that the question doesn't arise because it's answered already by the reality of the times. We are not in Dumso, and there are no threats from the IPPs. That in itself is evidence enough of the fact that, and that's the scorecard or the show working that you're asking for. I mean, if it was Hughes or if it was Egbeta, scorecard or show working. So I think that the energy minister and the power sector, this is working very well. The MPP on the other hand want to see the 1 cedi taken off so that we will go back into Dumso. So Ghanaians will be angry that they can say, he brought you back to Dumso, or he brought Dumso, or he is Dumso. They want to do the politicking. They are not interested in the Ghanaians. Even if, assuming that 2 cedis, I'm just saying, assuming 2 cedis was taken off.
Right.
By cutting off every tax and the 1 cedi is left, they will not be satisfied. They want to see us go into Dumso. Now, the other thing is that when there are cuts, do prices go down? No, they don't. So really, I mean, will the Ghanaian benefit from the cuts beyond what is at the pump? You may buy fuel, so you may experience something, but does it translate, and will the transport owners and whatever reduce their fares? They will not. Will the market women reduce? They'll find all sorts of reasons. Oh, and it's better, and it is this, and they will find all sorts of. The dollar goes down, they will find excuses. So let us do the little we can, bear with the times. Unfortunately for us, Trump has already taken over Venezuela, so he has some oil that he can fall back on and therefore keep the war going and sell to the rest of the world. He's a businessman. So I can predict that if he was given his own way, and if the allies that he's calling on were to help him, he will keep the war going. So thankfully, today as we speak, the French and the British are meeting, the Prime Minister and the President Macron. They are meeting to make further statements and call for peace. So if the allies are not willing to assist him continue with the war will come to an end. Let us hope that happens.
Before we give it back to I know we are taking this time. You know, you asked that the oppositions are looking for how much the 1 cedi have accrued. It's as simple as ABC. National Petroleum Authority, at the end of every month, publishes their number of liters that has been sold out. So you can quickly get it from there. If it's about 1 million liters they have sold, quickly you do your tabulations and you get 1 million. There should be very, very responsible opposition. You can go into the fact of asking how judiciously those monies have been used. And it is what we are discussing.
So, Charlie, let me ask you a question. Has their finance minister agreed to come and give account of his stewardship? Has Ken Ofori-Atta? You see, those are the questions that Ghanaians must ask them. The minority, the MPP, Bawumia. Look, when they keep asking you about these questions, ask them, have you rendered account for your 8 years stewardship? Bawumia and Ken Ofori-Atta, they should come and account before they ask questions.
For me, I saw yesterday some of the drivers' unions calling on their association members that they should stay calm and wait for what government will come out with, perhaps maybe today or tomorrow. And that will also determine whether they should increase their prices or not. But they were so optimistic and sure that government will definitely do something about these fuel issues as to the
as for the reduction, I mean, that's what I'm saying, that it depends on where you are cutting.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can cut, you see, it should be shared. Because not all the margins or come to the government, isn't it? So if you can look at, so you can cut here and there to make sure. But I'm just trying to say that if indeed the one city, because I mean that's the bone of contention. Yeah. The one city is supposed to be for a particular thing. If we take it out, where are we going to get money to do that particular thing for us to have our lights on? For me, that's my concern. That's what I'm saying, that we can cut other places and leave the one city, provided other places will not create the kind of problem the one city will create. Should they be taken away? That's what I'm thinking. But I'm saying that as a nation, let's behave like let's have the Mfantipim motto, Johnnie Shakan, Johnnie Shakan, because today we are solving problems of today. We have not prepared for the problems of tomorrow. So we solve the problem today and we go
that
to
sounds
sleep.
like an insult to Bawumia. Say if he did everything today, what will he do tomorrow? I mean, that's not fair. On this occasion, I would rise to the defense of Bawumia. It's not fair.
I'm saying Johnnie Shakan. Yeah, Johnnie Shakan. Because we need to do it in such a way that when even tension, threats, I mean, Trump can even cough and the whole world will catch cold, right? And it is important that we prepare ourselves as a nation. Let me tell you, I lived through 1983. Eric, I don't know how old you were.
Oh no, I didn't live through 83.
The famine, the 83 famine was very severe. But the 83 famine was very severe.
Yes.
And it could happen again. We don't control it because of how do you call it? The kind of environment there.
Drought. It was a drought, actually.
It was drought, serious drought, severe one. It affected food production in Ghana, and that's when we started eating yellow corn that were meant for chickens,
for pigs.
That's when we started eating them.
But people develop a taste for it, eh?
Yes, and I'm saying that as a nation, because of global warming and other things, it can easily happen again. Yes. So as a nation, even our food reserves, our buffer stock, how have we prepared ourselves for any eventuality in future? We should behave like that. If we behave like that, I'm telling you, you see the way we are thinking ahead in terms of for the foreign exchange. Now we've taken a bill to Parliament so that our foreign exchange reserve will be increased to some 9 months or something like that, right? Why don't you do the same for food and fuel?
Currently, it's been done
for food and fuel.
And the buffers that this government is projecting at having is in the direction that you're saying. But the Abdul Hanans and others, the Mustafa Hamids, the Bawumias and others did the opposite that you're referring to. So there's a great transformation from where the MPP left off to where the NDC is currently going forward.
So we need to do that. We need to do that as a people.
Right.
You are waiting for the government decision, and
it will inform a lot of things.
You should also look at, you see, there is petrol, there is diesel. Now I am looking at a very deep reduction on diesel, so that
the transport operators
and some.
So you are part of the group who say the slash in tax and levies should not be the same.
Yes, it shouldn't be the same
for petrol and diesel. It should be different in terms of.
It should be different. And then if you look at the fiscal impact of the proposed cuts we are talking about, even if petrol is going for the 50 pesos cut we are talking about. Based on the 2025 assumption data, we'll be losing about 142 million Ghana cedis, which is very huge. If you go for the 1 cedi completely, then we are looking at about 253 million Ghana cedis. Where do we get money to?
That's for diesel alone.
Yes.
So you put the two together, that's 500.
Yes, it's very huge.
But oral can do that.
So
500 million.
Oral, we will come when we are going for.
This oral thing,
I'm going for a break. When we return, we'll talk about oral because now it's being labeled as political witch hunt and
By
what have you. Because not just in terms of oral, I know there was one aspect of that arrest which had to do with investigations into
forced publication.
Yes, and then others were about publication and some other matters. But 15 on now it's 16 past 9 here on the 3FM Sunrise. Let's go for this quick break. When we return, we'll get into the arrest as seen in the last 48 hours, and what the NPP says is witch hunt. Unfortunately, Derek Ejekum could not join us this morning. Otherwise, he would have.
Has he been arrested?
Oh, no, he's not been arrested.
Oh, okay.
He's not been arrested.
It wasn't a public office holder.
It wasn't a public office.
It wasn't a public.
No, but he was something to.
What's his name? Yeah, he was. Yes,
his
personal.
Atifa was deputy what minister?
Asefwa, deputy
local government.
Local government is big and all the assemblies are under that.
Let's go for a break. We'll return and get into these matters.
Have you heard the Pediatric Chopper Conference is happening?
financial inclusion, and sustainable growth among women-led businesses in Ghana and beyond. This year's edition will convene women entrepreneurs, market leaders, policy makers, financial institutions, and development partners to deliver discussions on high-level plenary discussions on practical masterclass sessions, opportunities to connect, network, and learn from top business leaders, practical insight and strategies to grow and scale businesses, exposure to financing, market and institutional support systems, guidance on overcoming barriers in the business ecosystem, access to skills development and mentorship opportunities, as well as a lot more. Sponsors and partners. The lead sponsor is EcoBank Ghana. Supporting sponsors Gino, Unilever Ghana, the Bank Hospital. For media contact, reach them on 0209 457 427 or 0244 725 688. Media partners include TV3, Onia TV, 3FM, Asasi Radio, City FM, Hello FM, Caspan FM and TV, Lawson Radio and TV. Yesterday, one of the many individuals who was arrested was remanded into custody. 3 individuals, right? 3. Not 3 individuals arrested. 2 arrested, 1 granted bail. That's Abronya DC, who's the Bono region chair of the NPP, was granted bail. There was another individual who is a communications officer, Baba Amando. Is it Baba Amando?
Yeah, he's a communications
officer of the NPP. Was remanded into custody for 2 weeks. Was set to reappear. That's on publication of, is it false news or something? Because he had put up some very funny pictures of the president and some other ministers. And then the home of Maxwell Kofi Juma was searched by officers of Iyoko, which we heard the Ashanti region NPP say that is political witch hunt and what have you. I want to start off with the Juma bit because that's a bit mixed up with oral and the conversations about oral and all of that. And then the other arrest, I think Abronya was in relation to threats to a judge, right? But he's been granted bail as well. I'll start with you, Mark. I don't know what you make of it. Let me start off with
Before you start off with him, I'm happy you retracted the many.
I've explained, so there's no.
Just apologize to the listeners.
I'm not sure. I corrected it. Not in the sense that it wasn't.
On your behalf, I apologize. From many to 3 to 2 to 1 to 0.
No, it's not 3 to. I'm saying there were arrests. I just sought to explain what may have happened because it's the activities that were a bit.
And they're non-political. A judge being threatened cannot be political.
A judge being threatened cannot be political. But I mean, in the realms of the conversations which have come in the aftermath,
they're just NPP activists who have been arrested.
It
so
suggests
an NPP thief arrested.
It suggests so. But let me get reactions, and then you come in and you have your share as well.
Mawuena, we all know the harm we have done to our country when it comes to mismanagement and embezzlement of state funds. In fact, funds that are expected to, expand our economy, help us develop the nation to a level where our next generation would come and say that kudos to the generation before us. Some individuals have decided that we will mismanage those funds. When state institutions are out there to do their legitimate mandate, I don't think that political opponents should tag such legitimate responsibility of state institutions as politically aligned. We all know that there were issues surrounding Gihawk, that there have been some mismanagement and misuse of public funds. And of course, the Ghanaian people, upon voting for the National Democratic Congress, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he made a statement to them, which includes oral. At the point we hear the MPP say oral atonsium. So if state institutions that are mandated to go after and see to it that oral works are doing their legitimate job, why would we then say that this smells of political witch hunting? I've said that even if you have not embezzled any fund and you have served in the capacity of an appointee or a state official, you must avail yourself to accountability. If at the end of the day, evidences before Yoko proves that Maso Kofi Juma had done nothing wrong, I believe he will have his day or he will be freed. But as we speak, there have been rumors, and I don't want to say that based on those rumors that Yoko have picked him up. We did same to Ken Oforiatta, where we know very well that the special prosecutor's mandate was to remove politics from prosecution. Unfortunately, we decided to mix them up, for which reason the US think that it is political persecution, for which reason it became a very long-standing battle releasing Ken Oforiatta. And it's also having his way because he's paying lawyers. And as we speak, we know the whereabouts of the matter. So for me, let us make corruption a no-go area, where if in other jurisdiction people are shot dead, people are given severe punishment for being engaged and involved in corruption and corruption-related activities, why should we, as a developing nation, a nation that cannot even boast of 2 months fuel stock, will be allowing ourselves to, go through such financial indiscipline, where individuals would embezzle funds, and what we only see is that political people will wear political T-shirts in their numbers and come and be chanting Johnnie, Johnnie, Johnnie. Then we allow the person to go. It is not just about the NPP. It is the same thing across the political divide, especially those who have had the opportunity since 1992. If it is not good yesterday, why must it be good today? And if you continue to, pamper these individuals, then what precedence are we, demonstrating to the next generation? I've said that let's make corruption a no-go area. Let's make corruption something unthinkable, that no one would have any interest in engaging in such activities. On the issue of Abronye, I don't think this is political. Why? I was here this morning and I shared my opinion on this matrimonial case in court. Did I insult any judge? Did I insult the judiciary? I spoke my mind as it is. And so if Abronye thinks that he has any issue, he can politely come out to speak his mind. I've said that the olden day politicking, where we sit on radio and on TV and attack certain people, is gone. It's no more there. It's a thing of the past. And I believe that there are laws that are associated with all these things we are talking about. In fact, if individuals who are arrested, their arrests are backed by warrants and are charged within 48 hours, and they have access to bail according to Article 14.3 of our 1992 Constitution, does this become a political witch hunt? No, never. But what I would advise the Ghana Police Service to do is that in most occasions they allow themselves for the politicians to come out first, issue all manner of statements, say all manner of things, and make the whole situation to be like a political witch hunting. Sometimes I think that when such individuals are arrested, the responsibility of the police is also that they engage the public. That this is what the person has done. We have done ABC as according to our laws. But if you do not brief the public, it gives these politicians the opportunity to come out and say certain things that are not to be said. What I'm saying again is that even lawful arrests sometimes look like an intimidation if it is poorly communicated by the police. If it is poorly communicated by the police, they look like an intimidation. But I would say that this is nothing witch hunting or trying to silence individuals who want to speak their mind. There are limitations to everything we do, and so if you go beyond the band, I mean, there are laws that will deal with you. Let us take note of that. Before the 2024 elections, I know I saw the previous administration launching, is it see something, say something, and all that. These are all ways to, get the system so serene, where people will not come out to say certain things that are uncalled for. How do you put such pictures out there? Total disrespect. And
but disrespect is not something which amounts to a criminal offense where you should be arrested.
So if I put your picture in such manner, will you be happy about that?
I can take you on.
You can't take me on.
In terms of
and so the president should not take them on.
Civil proceedings, yeah.
But we have law in our constitution or in our books that say this is a criminal offense. Mm-hmm. Do you have law? Do you know? I know you are up and coming, but let me ask: do you have laws in our books?
Up and coming is just
that suggests.
So I mean, what is not good? We need to come out holistically to condemn it. I would say that the law must bite everyone, if it should. But if we are being selective in our justice system, that will not augur well. That is not what I think this administration is doing. Let's look at sanitizing our systems very, very well in terms of communication and what we put out there, so that we will not be found wanting.
Prince, you've been wanting to. So,
well, you want us to start with Maxwell and look at the other MVP guys who have...
Most definitely. Yeah. Maxwell, because of oral and the conversations around it.
Yeah, well, I have been going through the profile of Maxwell Kofi-Djuma, particularly the period that he served at Gihawk, an organization that he said he didn't like, but would have preferred to have been sent to a cocoa board where milk, quote unquote, milk and honey flows. That was the petition attributed to him, and reluctantly went to that place because he was father-in-law or in-law to the then president, and I think brother to the chief of staff, or something to that effect. Relations.
He's an in-law to
the son marries Akufo-Addo's daughter.
So that's in-law, but also related to the then chief of staff, Freeman. Anyway, be that as it may, he had a record of sacking arbitrarily workers, and yet was complaining about having been sacked after Akufo-Addo had left office. I mean, the profile is a little, confusing. I mean, in one breath, he mismanaged Gihawk to the point where imported bottles from China were stacked up for a long time. I've been listening to TV3 and Johnnie's Bites on the Gihawk saga for a very long time. In fact, Ghanaians had been calling for his execution, not even his prosecution, his execution, because of the things that he had done when he had the opportunity to serve in a public office. And then I think he's the one who took away that vehicle, and then Ioka to go and trace it, correct?
Yeah.
And then he returned it. So by and large, I mean, there's so many things, including fuel that he was drawing 40,000 a month, or is it a week or something? A week,
yeah.
Yeah, 40,000. So look at the fuel prices today. And so if Akufo-Addo's appointees were drawing 40,000 a week on the average, and he had the largest government, 120 ministers, 125 ministers, appointees almost 1,000, and so on and so forth. Then each of them had their, political aides, deputy assistant managers, and so on. I mean, any wonder where we are today? And these guys did not just enjoy the largesse, they stole on top of it. And they stole heavy. So they had beds with loads of cash under, some had poly tanks with lots of cash in, and then bank accounts that will blow your mind. I mean, if you take a Dubai and others, they were actually cloning their entities that were working in and siphoning money allegedly by the Attorney General, for which some of them are standing prosecution, and many others are still in Parliament today, including Damwa and others. Colonel Damwa and others are still in Parliament. I want to, at this point, before I even continue, take the Speaker of Parliament up on his word that he will not shield any criminal, be it a corrupt official or a galamsey in Parliament. But I should go beyond that. He knows them. We all know them. The Professor Frimpong Party report has named some. Auditors' reports have named others. They should be out of Parliament. That is a contribution of the Speaker of Parliament and Parliament, for that matter, to oral. Oral is not something that one person is supposed to fight. Institutions must fight for the people, and the people must stand up and fight for themselves. Ghana must rise. Arise Ghana has already risen to the task of ensuring that Ken Ofori-Atta is brought back. And thankfully, our sister Sedina is coming, and we're hopeful that Ken Ofori-Atta and his aide will come as well. We need all the oral monies, not just that which was stolen, but the bungalows and state lands that were stolen also. We need all back, because these are state assets. In fact, I'd like to use this opportunity to commend the Lands Minister for doing some small work, and I'll say small because it's a tiny portion of what he promised. He promised to publish the names of the people who have looted state lands.
Yes, I recall that as well. I was looking forward to it, but we haven't gotten it.
It's on the Lands Commission website now. As of last week, it is.
It's been put up.
Accra and Ashanti are on the website. You can refer to it. Gold Key is listed severally, as a number of companies and individuals. Some have been listed as many as 8 times. So, lightning doesn't strike twice in one place, right? But land allocations, state land allocations, were given to people in multiple, order, about 5-6 times and all that. So that should tell you something. Some of them maybe have been fronting for people, but what I see lacking is the specificity of the allocations. So whereas the document I showed you that had Sam Jonah and many others, including the former Chief Justice of Akufu, Justice Wood, and many other people in the legal whatever, and even Hughes, the Parliament Speaker, and his Deputy Freddie Blay, and many others in Parliament, the Mpari, that's Secretary to the Cabinet of Kufuor at the time, and many of his ministers, the IGP P.K. Achapan, and many others in the services, and so on and so forth. Every place was corrupted. There was a systematic looting. Now, these are things that must be retrieved, and I'm saying this because if we retrieve these, and a lot of these people are pumping the looted money into real estate. Sam Jonah came out to say that. Unfortunately, he also is on the list. Sam Jonah is on the list. But he came out at least to tell us that if you want to fight corruption, go out there, look at the Accra skyline. The buildings are going up, who are putting up, the kind of iron rods, we know the cost of iron rods, we know the cost of cement, we know the cost of building materials. And people are pumping. Where is it coming from? It's coming from the loot, it's coming from under the beds, it's coming from the polytanks, it's coming from the bank accounts. And so if Yoko and others don't work fast to stop these things, there'll be no money left under the beds, because all would have been pumped in there, hidden in there, and we'll be making money on top of it. So I think that it's come to a point where the media, you and I, should go out there. And we took some people on a tour. That's Arise Ghana, when we went and stayed that 1 week picketing at the American Embassy. calling for the operation Recover All Loot and others to look into cantonment civil aviation, specifically the Laboni cantonment, the Laboni Salisbury area and airport and so on. We took the media on a tour. You guys saw it. The houses, the mansions that Akufo-Addo, Bawumia, Ken Ofori-Atta, several of the ministers had put up. These buildings are right there. What are you doing about it? Highlight these things so we can. You see, Ghanaians don't seem angry now because you are not feeding them with facts.
What is, and I'll come back to this point that
yes,
if this is known,
yes,
by the relevant investigative bodies, yes, the media is going to play a role, but the media will not investigate and unravel. How
is the fourth estate the media?
I want to make the point that we will highlight these things, yes, but the documentation as to who bought the land and whatever will be with the relevant investigative bodies.
Yes. But the fourth estate, for example, has been going in. Unfortunately, there's RTI too. You can actually get the documentation.
Which is a fair
point.
point.
Also, is lacking is that you see the Constitution supports people's action, the citizens. We have the power. If there's enough highlighting, if today you are committed, let's say we take the civil aviation cantonments, just cantonment civil aviation, and make it a project for today until Saturday, we will see all the worms. KJ4 is there. You know what KJ4 does? Galamsey, Sofa Kufu is there. Judge Wood is there. Ken Ofori-Atta is there. Bawumia is there. Akufo-Addo is there. Let us go and put the cameras there and let Ghanaians go.
I know matters.
I know matters. Ghanaians mass up there. If they say it is not theirs, then the state should just take it over.
I know matters of land are very important, and they are important because, I mean, in terms of the work that Oral did, it was a huge chunk of. But stay with me on the arrests. You've spoken about Juma. Just quickly on the other two, and then I'll go to Ebubakwan.
Abronya has been arrested too many times this time around. But if you listen to him after each arrest, the defiance. I remember the kind of comments he said about the Black Maria incident. All right. And unfortunately for us, we have a very irresponsible minority leader. What's his name? Afenyo-Markin, who is almost always ready to go and give support to people who do not just break the law but steal and loot. So, for example, what's his name? The chairman who went to the forest to share the forest. That Akufo-Addo said at this time. Sir John is the one who willed the forest, the Achimota forest, and the estuaries and all the green belts to himself, and as forestry commission boss, allowed for the first time the looting of the forests. Akufo-Addo kept him there till he died and willed the forest to himself, and Charles Owusu, who is now parading himself as a priest. And unfortunately, the media is propping him up. Asempa, to be precise, they are propping him up. In fact, I've seen Asempa being the lead. No. Allow me.
Calling another media.
So where should I go and call them? I should go and call them in my house? Look, the media, no, you see, the media is not helping this thing. Let us call, why the media, look, we should shield the media, but we should talk about politicians.
I'm not saying we should
should we shield the media?
I'm not one person.
I'm the one saying it.
When someone,
I am the one saying it.
Someone is doing something bad.
Assuming you're talking about politicians, and I'm a politician. I'm not a politician, I'm a citizen. So I should say we shouldn't talk about citizens.
When you talk about politicians and they are not
in the
media, I say that
Juma here in the studio.
I say that
here in the studio. We are talking about Juma.
I say
right
that
now.
because they don't have the right of response.
The guy without mentioning the FM media.
You understand?
But the FM, look, who broke the news? So if you break news about Ken Ofori-Atta, we should not say you broke news about Ken Ofori-Atta.
No, that's fair. I'm saying you proceed.
Thank you very much.
Proceed.
So I will proceed. If you go online, Asempa online, you will see they have actually put it out there. It's not me making up. So you see somebody and they've labeled him as the MPP's whatever his name is, and an aide to Ken Ofori-Atta, Juma, showing people around his bedroom and all that. Look, the security risk he's putting his so-called boss to by showing the number of shoes that are in the bedroom, where the bed is located. You don't do that. And that's the point I'm making. But you see, it makes it easier for those who also are investigating to now see the possible locations of where the money is. Well, you know, that shoe rack, that big shoe rack with plenty shoes there. It may have hidden compartments. So Yoko must go there. Not just Yoko, BNI must go there. Look, every single person, and I'm saying this, it should not necessarily be only the MPP. Certain NDC appointees who the security services suspect, they have the right to go and search if they are reasonably, grounded. And so I don't see any problem with these searches. And I think that when you come to those people who have been doing pictures of people or, insulting judges, I don't insult judges. So if you steal and you're a judge like Sofa Akufu, Georgina Wood, and you steal my land, I will say it. If you buy my land at Capital for 7,000,
but they bought it. They didn't steal it.
It is stealing.
Yes,
look,
we can argue about the price.
You are a law student, almost a lawyer. Look, if you go and buy a stolen item or an item, and it is unreasonably priced, if you go and buy a Rolex watch for 1 CD, what do you think you are doing? No, what do you think they are doing?
If the person who is selling said
watch.
1 CD is good enough for them,
yes,
and you enter into the contract, that's it.
In good conscience.
You see, the law will not consider whether there is conscience or not. Once there is consideration,
in
the case of Sofa Akufu,
you're good to go. That is why I say you can't say they stole it.
It's up and coming.
But he hasn't arrived. He hasn't arrived yet. But he hasn't arrived yet. No, he hasn't arrived. And I'll put it to you that Sofa Akufu should have recused herself in the Jake Obechebi-Lamte case because she and Jake had been given land encantaments.
That is not a subject. That is not a subject.
But I'm just telling you, I'm putting it to you that you haven't arrived. You are on your way.
That's not a subject matter for conversation. Ebo, come in for me.
Once again, this morning, like my Bible quotations.
Ebo is taking us to the church today.
Yeah, so if you read the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17.
Are you Ken's brother?
I don't wear white. I don't wear white like
and you don't loot.
And I will not run away.
Okay, you run away. Good.
The Bible, if you take your Bible, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17, it says, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Yeah. All things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. I want to know if MPP is a new creation. Because to them, all things should pass away. All the things they did in the past should not be mentioned. Is MPP a born again?
They have carried the cross.
They are never born again. So all things have never passed away. And all things have never become new. So everything that they did, if it was wrong, they would have to account for.
Yeah.
If you are in a country where the courts become a refuge for alleged political criminals, I'm telling you, development becomes a mirage. If you want, I can repeat it. In a country where courts become a refuge for alleged political criminals, development becomes or remains a mirage. You see, one thing that I've observed is that anytime this oral issue comes up for discussion, MPP posturing is this: go to court. Go to court. But you are in court, what have you been able to do, even as you've taken them to court? So it's like people know the system, how it works. That I can loot, I'll be taken to court, I will get a good lawyer who can delay the case. I can even buy my way out. I can even bribe a judge. And so when they are stealing, they don't care. Because if corruption were to be that expensive, that court cannot be a refuge. Court will be a place that you go, and the next day, if you are guilty, you find yourself paying the money back and find yourself at Insawom or other prison across the country. You think twice even before you try to engage in corruption. But corruption has become so cheap in this country because when they steal, they can go scot-free. Yeah. I'm talking about Aura. When they steal, they can go scot-free. And I'm saying this, I'm sending this special message to the government, the president. If you fail with this Aura thing, criminals in this country will be emboldened. Political criminals will be emboldened
to loot this country like never before. If you're able to set examples, if you're able to get scapegoats, if people are sent to prisons 20 years, 25 years, people who have the proclivity to steal will think twice before they even try to steal. And I'm saying this because if you go to the street, those of us who belong to the streets, if you go to the street, people care so much about how Ora is going to end up than how inflation or the fuel price is going to end up. People care about the Ora more than even the fuel prices. So I'm urging this government, please, Attorney General, I know you are overwhelmed because the kind of corruption that took place under Nana-Addo and Bawumia remains unprecedented. Corruption was ubiquitous. It was like an indifference curve everywhere dense. And so the Attorney General is overwhelmed with cases. If you need more hands, I'm told they want to engage private legal, private lawyers or prosecutors.
Yes.
They have to do whatever it will take to make sure that those who have looted this country like never before, as Kennedy Japan put it, said these people were looting the country like never before, as if they were not tomorrow. And when they even loot, they don't invest the money in this country. They send it outside to do investment outside. So on that score, Ora must not fail. If anybody out there thinks we are going to keep quiet on Ora, I'm telling you, every day, any opportunity we get, we're going to talk about it. Because we are suffering as a nation because of corruption. The loot that went on under the previous administration, National Service and other places, buffer stock and other places. You can't treat it as 2 Corinthians 5:17, that all things have passed away and all things have suddenly become new. No, we don't have to as a nation. National lotteries, yes, and all other places. We can't be struggling as a nation to even provide beds, hospital beds for people, good drinking water for people. Pregnant woman will go to hospital and will have to lie on the floor. Children will go to school, they'll have to write on their bellies. No desk or table and chair for them. Road accident as a result of bad roads, people losing their lives because some greedy politicians ate or stole with their nose, their mouth, their legs, their hands, every part of their body. We can't allow this to continue as a nation. We can't play this symbiotic scratch my back, I scratch your back game to let this country down. Ora must succeed. And if the president is going to leave any legacy that will be cherished so much by Ghanaians, it will be how successful Ora was in terms of how people who had looted this country were made to account for whatever they did to this country. For me, that should be it. But you see, democracy guarantees freedom of speech, but democracy doesn't guarantee foolishness or fooling. The fact that democracy has given you that you can speak and you can also publish articles or publish whatever information you have, it doesn't mean you can continue to fool. And you must not keep quiet. If someone will just put some pictures out there of the president and other people for political whatever, we keep quiet, next time they will move a step higher. Because when they did the first one, nobody spoke about it. We all sat aloof. We shouldn't allow our democracy to be destroyed by people who don't even understand the meaning of democracy. That is why some of us will not sit aloof for people to play political football. This NDC MP political football, my brother. This Republican Constitution, this is the fourth Republican Constitution. It's how many years? It's 34 years, right?
We're in the 30 region.
Yes, 34 years. Between NDC and MPP, the political football game has been played between two political parties for 34 years. So if today we are struggling with basic things in life, then we should know how this game has dealt with us as a nation. That is why we need to turn a new leaf. NPP, given their performance in the last 8 years, will need time and space to deal with their corruption, so they should stay in opposition for a long time. That is one. Keno Forata, who was their finance minister, has also chosen to stay out of the country after whatever he did, because he knows he's done wrong. Because if you have not done any wrong, you don't have to run away. And if he's not prepared to come, MPP should remain in opposition so long as the man remains abroad.
Absolutely.
I mean, and that should be the way forward. And let's put them aside.
Right.
Let's be
focused.
Yes, let's be focused. Ghana is more important than any political party. So, given all the things they did, we should treat them as a second Corinthians 5:17. That all things have become new.
Should not be.
Suddenly, all things have passed away. MPP, all things, all corrupt things, we should bury them under the sun.
We have to run. The way he's giving me, and I'm sure he has something else.
I thought we were going to talk about the last, but then we are time bound.
Yes.
So I think I would commend His Excellency the President
for the
lunch he wants to lunch today. Yesterday, I saw a video by your Volta regional reporter where a pregnant woman in their community did not have any health facility. They would have to walk the lady from a distance to a very longer distance. And from the report and the accounts from those areas, they are saying that people have died as a result of some of these things.
Can you imagine?
Because they don't have health facilities. Even their roads are so poor. Meanwhile, we had individuals in the actual administration who embezzled funds, who chopped our money. And they are walking the streets of Accra.
They put up mansions that their salaries untouched
can never
go in 15
and
years.
they are driving big cars. Unfortunately, they didn't even invest the money here in Ghana, as Kennedy Japan said. Then let not these people go scot-free.
Thank you. I think you've all stated what is in the mind of
except
Prince.
to say that my thing always comes back to the Egbeta principle that the media must put the spotlight. And so, Mawuena,
no, I'm listening to you. I was giving
really
a signal to
that you will move your cameras to the cantonment civil aviation and identify the owners of each of those lands.
We'll do that in tandem with you. We'll have a conversation as to how that should
So next week we can show working and show the scorecard that we have seen 2 mansions by Ken Oforiatta, 3 by Akufo-Addo, 4 by Bawumia, and Chief Justice of Akufu and Kate Jemfo and all that. So we can let the Ghanaian people see that Oral is working one mansion at a time, identified by the Egbeta team from the Egbeta, do you have your word?
Absolutely. That's Prince Derek J. Is a member of the NDC Communications team. Ebo Bachman as well, Deputy National Communications Director of the United Party, and then Mark is convener of Election Watch Ghana. Quick birthdays, because today is the birthday of an absolutely wonderful person, Helen Appiah Mpofu. A fantastic, glorious birthday to you today, Helen. From all of us, Janed, Frederick Kunzo Tiani, Johnnie Hughes, Sixus Don Ulo, myself, DJ Phil, everybody, we say a fantastic birthday to you. We sorely miss you, sorely miss you today. Happy birthday to you, Helen, and enjoy this one in particular. All of the guys actually wish they could say a word or two, and I have that on good record. Yeah, flavor. Have a good one, Helen, and enjoy. This last one, a happy birthday to Reverend James Kobena Inkum. who's the head pastor of Open Heavens Sanctuary Assemblies of God, Ghana. We appreciate and honor you. Have a wonderful and blessed day from the entire church. That's our show for you today. We're back again, God willing, tomorrow. News updates at 10. Kind Ketsi and Yunam Haligan is coming your way, after which we get into the lounge with AJ.
If it's with you, I can't decide. I can't decide.
Doku, the free primary healthcare initiative is designed to ensure that every citizen, regardless of their location, gains access to quality healthcare. The program, estimated to cost 1.2 billion annually, will roll out first in 150 underserved districts across the country, with about 6,000 healthcare workers expected to be recruited this year. Ahead of the ceremony, the Minister for Health, Kwabena Mensah Kando, visited key health facilities to inspect logistics for the healthcare project.
The concept of the free primary healthcare, apart from its freeness, which leads to the affordability, it's a complete shift from sick care to healthcare. Detection of the disease on time, early detection, and if possible, preventing the disease before you get its complications. We have market women who are very busy, and they will have to go to the market, but when they have this post at the market, it becomes easily accessible, not have to travel long distances to access healthcare. We know we have a backlog of health professionals, and government has a deliberate policy of making sure they get employed. This year, we are going to recruit health professionals, and in this case, we are not doing only nurses and midwives, as has been the case in the past.
That was the Health Minister, Kwabena Mensah Kando. Now, fuel prices in Ghana could fall by as much as 1 cedi per litre in the coming days. That's according to 3 business sources within the Finance and Energy Ministries. The expected drop follows a directive by President John Dramani Mahama to review taxes and levies on petroleum products as consumers face rising costs at the local pumps.
Fuel prices have increased sharply in recent weeks, driven by higher global crude oil prices and a marginal weakening of the local currency, which have raised the cost of imports. Petrol prices have risen from around 10 cedis per litre to more than 13 cedis, while diesel is selling for about 17 cedis per litre. Government is now considering measures to ease the pressure, including the possible suspension of some levies within the petroleum price structure. A group of civil society organizations has also called for deeper cuts, proposing a reduction of 1 cedi 65 pesos in the current price build-up. They say the move will provide relief for households and businesses and could be supported by increased revenue from crude oil production and exports. 3 business sources say an official announcement on the measures is expected as early as April the 15th. with consumers likely to see a reduction of up to 1 cedi per litre, although details of the specific levies to be affected remain unclear. The government has yet to formally confirm the changes as discussions continue on how best to cushion consumers while managing the impact on public finances.
And that was a report on fuel prices. It's likely to see as much as 1 cedi removed from the price of litre, petrol and diesel in the coming days, as according to our 3 business sources within the finance and energy ministries. That brings us to the end of the news update here on 3FM 92.7. For more news, please check our website at 3news.com. I am Enyunam Halika. AJ continues with 3 Lounge.
Accra, Ghana.